Hello?
Hey,
I got your voice.
you have my voice?
I got your voice.
I got your voice. I'm trying to figure out why the cam's not working.
Have you tried punching it?
I just have a lot of cameras, you know? It could be any one of these cameras.
I have faith.
I'm working on it. I'm close. Okay. It lets you choose whatever camera you want. I'm just waiting for it to be like, hey. Oh, no, I have to turn it on after.
Ooh, I see you. You're real dark.
It works. It is really dark. How do I fix that?
That's really weird.
Sort of weird. Ball sacks.
All right, I'm going to work on getting you on my screen.
You do it, man.
That's not the one.
I believe in you and your ability to get me on your screen. I have an easy way to get you on my screen.
This is not the...
Zach, are you here, buddy? Can you get multi up? this isn't going to work out right.
Oh, there's this. Video capture.
All right, we're close. We're close. I'm almost there.
That's not the window. Where did I... I've lost it. Window capture. Oh, I think that's the one. I've done it. I'm trying to resize your window. Almost got it. Oh, you're frozen.
All right, we got Flitz. We got me.
You're moving now. I got it. Dude, we did this.
But I need to figure out how to fucking...
Yeah, like, why are you so dark?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, I kind of know. But there should be a way for me to fix it. I don't know if there's a way for me to fix it. Fuck. So when you've got multiple C920 cameras and you want to be able to save their settings, like, so every day when I get on, I have to fucking press this one button, and because if you don't, I don't know if you know, but Logitech cameras, they don't save your settings.
Gotcha.
So you have to set them like every time you stream. And then so every day when I come to work, I would have to change all of my camera settings for every single camera every day. And
that sucks.
It's a super pain in the dink. So all I really did, like, every day was, it only saved certain things. Autofocus never saved. It never saved low light compensation. Like, some things I had to like check some boxes, change some things. So anyway, it wasn't like every single fucking little teeny nitty gritty deal, but it was still fucking annoying as fuck. So now I have a program that just like saves all my settings, but I have to switch from Logitech's drivers to generic Windows USB video drivers, and so that's probably what we're seeing right here. But I'm not sure how to manipulate the camera's crap. Hold on, I'm giving it a shot.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there a setting in Discord for the camera?
No, I can't find one anyway. I'm looking right at that as well. Well, stream profile, mute, deafen, blah, blah, blah. I mean, worst comes to worst. Let me see. And maybe I can edit it in OBS, which is an odd way to do it, but I'm going to see if I can get that to happen.
People don't realize how finicky cameras are when you're using them with a PC. They're kind of a pain.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see if this works, Flitz.
Oh, you're doing it.
Oh! Ha-ha!
You've done it.
I'm a camera god!
Great success.
Great success! Oh,
This is
man.
fantastic. So,
Fantastic! That's awesome, dude. I'm just
Hello.
repeating all the things that you say.
hello and welcome.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Just pretend like everybody pretend like none of that took place. Now we're just starting right now.
Right now.
Welcome.
Also,
welcome, Mazion. How are you doing
man.
tonight?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good. How was your Phasmo stream?
It was good. It was less eventful. You know, I think that's one of those games where like the first couple of times that you do it is the best,
Right.
And then and then you're like become an expert, and you're like, I'll just go in there, I'll take some pictures, I'll throw some shit on the ground. The ghost gets mad. I stop moving. I go into a little closet, and I leave, or I throw down the crucifix, and then I walk out, and I come back in, and I burn some shit so that it won't come out for a minute, so I can put the other thing down. Then I'll put it down. Then I leave. You know, it's like. So I'm going through the motions after that.
Yeah, you kind of do you find it oddly addictive? Because that's how I feel now. It's like I just kind of want to play it, even though it's like the dynamic and the mechanic of the game, but I'm like I want to play it more, and just keep doing it.
Yeah, it's for fun. It's fun for sure. I don't know. I'm glad about the fact that I can do these kind of games with like Zach just on Friday.
Right.
You know, it's not like an everyday deal.
Yeah, and it's weird because there's not. I mean, somehow you've found a lot of them, but it seems like there's not really a lot of good like co-op games. You'd think
It's a pain in the fucking ass, man.
Yeah, like you'd think there would be more for just people to play games together, but it's like all of them are FPS or deathmatch or something. Like there's not really a lot of selection for just co-op fun games.
Right.
Which kind
No,
of
I get you. It does suck. And so we've already kind of blown through pretty much every co-op game that's out there. We've done everything. And then we are always looking for suggestions from people for other things that we can do, but the problem being that we really have done pretty much everything. So what the fuck do you do?
Have you done Fall Guys?
Yeah, I mean, but that's not really like co-op per se.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can do that with a group of people, and you can be like, we're both here, yay!
Yeah.
But like in the end, it's not really all that.
It's
great.
not really it's more of like a fun party game.
Right.
So you ready for questions?
Daryl, get out. It's fine. Sorry, I got a million dogs.
I was gonna say.
You can see them.
How many dogs are in the house?
Today there's 16. We got 2 new dogs today.
16.
16 dogs.
Wow.
So when I get this right out of the way, not a crazy hoarder lady situation. It's
Right.
My girlfriend's been running a nonprofit that saves bully breed animals in 3 counties in Florida for the last 20 years. And so she also runs the hospice for this organization out of her house. So anytime they save a dog and the dog's going to die, she will go ahead and take it over herself, bring it into her home, and make sure that it has a great life. And she has access to medical care that most people don't have access to for the animals. So she'll get their tumors removed, and she'll, make sure that they're as healthy as that they can be. And then they'll live, another 4 or 5 years. And then when it's time for them to go, she'll do bucket list stuff with them. She calls it bucket list stuff. But so like, for example, we've got a dog named Gator, and he's fine right now. He's old, but he's fine. But he goes to the pumpkin patch like every year, right? So
nice.
Imagine pumpkin patches were all year round. Then if it was like his time to go, she would make sure that he went to the pumpkin patch. We'd take him to the beach. He'd have an ice cream, like all this stuff because most of the time they get euthanized rather than them just die of old age. Like if they're so bad that like they're in such bad pain that, they can't tell you, but it's just obvious that their life sucks, then they get euthanized. It's not worth keeping around if they're just like fucking every day is the worst. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's cool though. Yeah, I think that's pretty on par. My parents have probably about 16 dogs inside, but they just rescue strays that people dump because they live out in the country, and so they just take them inside, and then and then they just have a horde of dogs. So it's I understand what it's like having a dozen plus animals in a house. It's very loud and noisy and distracting. So that's really cool.
It's not loud here at all, dude. That's like I said. So she's a expert trainer. Like every dog here is quiet. Everything's fine. The house is immaculately clean because she's neurotic. So like, it's really strange, man. If you came into our house, you would not know there are 16 dogs here. You have no idea. Because before I moved here, like my office was a bedroom for 3 dogs. Like they lived here. The 3 dogs live in our bedroom during the day. Then there's a back room that they can live in, but pretty much everybody else is allowed to be roaming through the house. The ones that are in here are specifically like segregated, so there's never an issue. And then like the rest of the house, the dogs will choose places to be. Like there's 2 other rooms in the back of the house, then there's the whole living room area, kitchen area, and they'll have like 3 or 4 out in the back in her office, and then we've got this other room that's got a day bed it's a dog's day bed that they can fucking lay on, or there's a couple of crates in there where they can stay, and then there's the living room, and all the furniture in the living room is all leather, so if you're on the friggin' leather, it's not a big deal. Like they're not going to stink up the leather. If something happens, like they drool on it, it's really easy to clean. If they shit on it, it's easy to clean. Like they don't shit on the couch. But you get my idea. You get my idea. The gist.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really weird, man. Like you just never know there's 16 dogs here.
That's really cool. That's a super cool thing to do too. Like that's very admirable. A lot of people, people can be really shitty about animals, so it's really cool that there are so many people like her that are doing their best to take care of them, and especially the ones that are unwanted or sick and all that.
Yeah, she's a good lady, man. She really does. She fucking loves the animals, like in a huge fucking way. It's before I moved here, I didn't have dogs.
Right.
It wasn't like a big deal. I had one dog, Lucifer. A lot of people around my stream know Lucifer. But it was a case where, my dad fell in love with him, so I ended up not like having him when I left. Like he got to stay with my dad.
Right.
And so, yeah, I don't know.
If I lived closer, I would donate a corgi so you could have a corgi. My parents have a corgi, and she is missing one eye and half blind in the other. So
that sucks, man.
Yeah. So she's super great to deal with because she doesn't know where anything is.
Oh, dude. I mean, I know exactly what that's like. We've got one dog here that's a 3-legged dog with a titanium back leg, and he's blind.
Oh, wow.
But he's a fucking boss. He like gets around. He plays with all the other dogs like in a normal way. You know what I mean? Like they fight and all that. We've got another dog who lives in the bathroom. His name's Roman. That room is on the side of the house that gets the most light, and he is almost completely blind. So he loves it there. Like he will just go there. If you don't, if you like lose track of him, he ends up in that bathroom. So there's a bed there for him because that's where he lives. And then we've just taken another blind dog, Sweeney Todd, who's another Chihuahua. And
Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, they're all named after serial killers and like serial killers, horror movies, video games. Like she named them all after that kind of stuff.
So Roman named after the kid from the Netflix show?
Yeah. Yep. It's Hemlock Grove. Yep.
Yeah.
Roman Godfrey.
Hemlock Grove.
Yep. That's why he's Roman. Yes. 100%.
Nailed it.
You did. That was fucking really intuitive, dude.
Yeah. Well, as soon as you said that, I was like, who do I know that's named Roman? The only Roman was the I can't even think of his real name. It's Bill.
Bill Skarsgård.
Skarsgård.
If you're talking about
Skarsgård.
Roman Godfrey.
Yeah.
He's also
Skarsgård.
it.
Yeah. Which I'm surprised. He did a good job. I was not happy that they were trying to remake that movie, but I think he did fantastic.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those, like, you can't replace Tim Curry, but I think he did an adequate job. That was one of the very few horror remakes that I think turned out pretty well. But he was fucking killer in that movie, for sure.
Oh yeah, actually, if we go to my Twitter page right now, he is it's Bill Skarsgård at an interview doing the face that he
Yes.
had to the lip thing that he had to
Yeah.
learn for, or no, he didn't learn it. He knew it. It was part of him, and he saw his older brother do it, and he was like, I could do that too, and then he did it, and then he used it for it.
Yeah.
And so if you look at my banner, is just this weird fucking, because he's in a suit. It's not actually it. He's just in a suit doing that face.
Yeah, it was like on Conan or something, I think. I saw that clip. He was on some talk show, and I remember they were talking about that. And it's really weird. Like it's like curling your lip, except you curl your bottom lip into the middle. It's like a reverse snarl thing. I don't know. People are just gonna have to look it up. It's weird. I can't do it. I tried it. I don't know how he does it. It's amazing.
I tried to do it too. No, it's just not part of my face structure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like his Swedish mouth just does that thing, and my friggin' mutt, my fucking European mutt mouth doesn't do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Our silly weird American faces.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But my fucking weird American face won't do that shit.
So let's talk about your video game history.
All right.
Do you have a moment in your childhood? Game over. Do you have a moment that you remember in your childhood where you maybe played a game or a particular system or something that resonates with you to where you're like, that was a moment that I kind of fell in love with video games? Like, do you have one of those memories?
I mean, I have several. I have like tons of those.
Like your earliest, like your first earliest memory of like.
So that's hard. That's very difficult because so first of all, like we had one of the Ataris that was a keyboard, and that's it. It was like a fucking keyboard, and it had a cartridge thing on the top of it. And so you could plug this in and program like BASIC and like make pictures on the screen. You could also play video games in it. But they were very fucking basic video games, like very early fucking bullshit. Not like Atari, joystick Atari, where you're playing like helicopters that fly around and shit, but more like nibbles.
Yeah.
Like fucking little dot that moves around and eats shit. So I remember like sitting down in the basement with my brother and like having an area where we had this thing set up, and him like, he was 6 years older than me, so you know he was already writing code on it and stuff. So I remember looking and seeing like lines drawn on the screen and fucking around with that thing myself and playing the games on it. But then I also have flashes of the actual Atari and playing games like Space Invaders and Centipede and all that kind of bullshit too around that time. We also had this one game that was it was a console that was 2 tank controls, one on each side, and that was just like these very fucking basic tanks, like 2D running around, and you can shoot each other, and it was a console, and that's the only thing that it did. So I all that stuff is around the same time for me. So that all kind of jumbles together. If you're talking about earliest, like all of those games, like all of the games on the Atari, because I have a shitty fucking memory for most of everything. So like I just have flashes of like all the Atari games, like Pole Position and all these things, and they all happen around the same time.
Yeah. Did you have like your console? Like, did you hit that age where it's like, because I know your brothers. I had siblings that are 7 years and 9 years older than me, so we're pretty close in that aspect. Did you have like your first console? Like, what was when it was like, this is mine, this is the one that I want? Like, you got it for Christmas or something, or was that like was it Nintendo, or was it more into 16-bit stuff?
I think that was like Xbox, dude. I mean, so growing up, when my parents bought something for us, it was for both of us because they weren't like money bags. So when we got a Super Nintendo, there was one Super Nintendo, and that was it. And you had to have your time to play on it or whatever. But that wasn't really a hard thing for me because Justin was always 6 years older than I was, so he was out playing with his friends and doing shit, and I was like at home, like farting and sucking my thumb and playing fucking Super Nintendo.
Right.
So it's really not that big of a deal most of the time. I mean, we definitely probably squabbled over it a couple of times or whatever, but all in all, I don't remember there being a lot of problems with that. So, but then I think maybe like when later on he left or whatever, because he was 18, he left, and I was 14, and so I was still hanging around. I think I had an Xbox or something around that time, and it was just for me.
So what was your transition into computer gaming when you joined the master race? What brought you into that?
That was actually, it's funny because that's all around the same kind of time frame. I think. I mean, not too much longer after. So 9 years old was when I got my first 486 DX266. My parents bought that for us, and we played whatever we could on that right away. There was a kid on the bus who got me a copy of Doom and Wolfenstein, and so he just like gave me that on a 3.5-inch floppy disk, and I went home and installed that and played Wolfenstein. You know what I mean? Like played that shit way back in the day, and then. So we did that on that computer and started doing bulletin board systems and all that. And I built my first computer myself for myself when I was 11. It was a 486 DX4100.
Dude, that was a fancy one.
It was faster.
Yeah, the 486. I had a 4666. I never had I think after that I ended up switching to a Pentium. But yeah.
Wow, straight to Pentium.
Yeah. I went through I had a 286 16. I had a 386 33. A 486 66, and then I think to the Pentium 100. And then it got muddy after that because it went into like all the dual core and all the weird stuff, and it was kind of a blur after directly after the Pentium. I don't really remember because then it went to like Pentium 2X or Pentium Pro. I don't even remember actually, but so Doom, you'd say like Doom and Wolfenstein were kind of your first like major PC games that you got into?
Oh, for sure. Well, that and fucking Minesweeper and Solitaire.
Right.
Classics. Best games ever. Yeah, no, it was definitely Wolfenstein, and then I moved into Doom 2, and then I ran my own bulletin board system, and we had a big bulletin board system in Maine called Explorer Online, and that place so we could play Doom 2 multiplayer on up to 4 people, and so we did that. That was like the beginning of fucking internet gaming for me.
Yeah,
was doing that. So,
I'm aware of bulletin board systems. Do you want to explain to the teenagers that are in chat that have no idea what BBS systems are?
Hi, teenagers. So a bulletin board system before the internet. It's actually kind of around the same time as the internet. So the internet was existing. Like this whole thing was college related. Like it was not really open to the public or whatever. But so for us, we had computers that you could dial into with a modem, and so you could dial into this Joe Schmo's computer. I had one at my house. It was just a computer set up, plugged into a phone line. The phone line was dedicated to that computer only. I had my parents get me an extra phone line so I could have my own fucking phone line that people could call into my computer and do their shit. And the problem is that the explanations of the games and things that you could do on it might be deprecated as well.
Right.
But so, like, there were games on it, and the games were based in text only. They're called MUDs. And so you could play games with other people. Or, like, so for instance, I don't think I ever had more than one node.
Yeah.
So only one person could call into my BBS at a time. But they could call in, play Legend of the Red Dragon, which is a MUD, and then have a score. And then the next person could call in and also play that game, not related to the first person playing the game, but also see the high scores and see other people playing it, see who was playing it, how well they were doing, etc. And then we had people that had different nodes. So, like, this Explorer Online thing I was saying, so it's BBS, a bigger one, better software, all kinds of bullshit. But they had like nodes of up to like 10 people, like 10 nodes. So 10 people could call into theirs with a phone number on a modem, and they could chat. There was a chat program, and then you could chat for a while, and then you take off, you play Legend of the Red Dragon, you come back. So that was what we did before
Classic
the
times.
Internet.
Yeah. There was a lot of I know there was a local one here in town called Purgatory that was like very dark themed, like they started Call of Cthulhu because you could do like turn-based like role-playing stuff, like D&D or whatever, because like a person would call in, and generally, so for those of you that are uninitiated, it's usually you would have a time frame. Like a lot of BBSs would enforce like a time frame you could be on for 30 minutes in a day, so that way like one person couldn't like burgle the entire day and be on. So it'd be like you have a 30-minute time limit, you'd get on and you'd have your little time frame to do your things, and then that's it till the next day. So you could do like turn-based role-playing stuff where you'd go in and you'd make your move, and then the other person would call and they would do their thing, and like the DM would update the whatever happens. And so it's kind of like if you picture the internet where you're not directly connected. It's like you post like a message board. You would post it. It's like a forum, actually. Like you would post a message, and then another person would have to go in, and then they would find the message and reply to your message, and you'd go back and check it later and see. So it was literally a bulletin board. Like it's like putting a fucking Post-it note on a bulletin board. Somebody sees it and they're like, "Oh, cool," and they reply and they leave a note for you, and then the next time you log on, you see it. So it's basically like the internet without real-time interaction. It's all like one-sided interaction. But that's all we had. We had 300 baud modems, and we liked it. And we dial up with a phone, and there were special codes if you had a rotary phone. For those that remember even rotary, there's a special code you had to do to dial a rotary phone with using a modem. And we didn't have this fancy internet cable modem nonsense back then. And we loved it. And you could download demos. Like that's where, talking about Doom, like I remember downloading the demo for Doom and Wolfenstein and a lot of those old games like Commander Keen and there's some other stuff. Like id Software was putting out a bunch of stuff back then. Like that was their early days, and it was really cool. Like that was what we had. That was our online interaction before the internet was a thing. And it was like you were saying, it's like you set up a BBS on your computer, on your phone line, basically on your dime, so to speak. That these people that were doing this, they were all doing it, just out of their generosity, that they would set up a phone line and a computer for you to log in and do all this stuff. And some of them I think had paid subscriptions. Like you could pay $2 a month or something and get like an extra hour and blah, blah, blah. Like I think people, they had small ways to kind of make money, like for paid subscriptions and stuff back then too. But I don't think anybody was getting rich from running BBS systems. I think it was all just kind of charity work.
A lot of it got plugged back into the bulletin board system to make sure that it was running.
Yeah.
That was the real allure for people, I think, at that time. But there's definitely, I don't remember anybody making any money off that. And I remember like being, when I started to get any sort of revenue from anything, being like, I put it back into the system, trying to get a new node or something.
Right.
I don't know. It's been a long time, but I forgot about the time limits too. That's another thing too, because you could. That's an interesting concept that is not present anymore. It's present for some people in Australia,
right?
But it's not really a time limit. It's like, oh, I don't have any more data to transfer without paying an ass load of money, so I'm going to get off the internet now.
Right.
But it's the similar concept, because that's the closest thing that we have today to that.
Yeah, because it would be like, I mean, in the relative file sizes of things, like you're looking at your cell phone takes a photograph that's like 4 meg, 5 meg, and in order to download a picture, like pictures on BBSs would be sometimes upward of 360 kilobytes, and 360 kilobytes at 300 baud modem would take you, 25 minutes to download. And something that is literally takes a split second to get now took minutes, dozens of minutes to get. And like getting something that was a megabyte would be insane. I think my first PC, my 286 that I had a 40 megabyte hard drive, and that was it. 40 megabytes. It's insane.
You remember? I don't remember, dude. Yeah. I don't freaking remember how big it was, dude. It's too long ago for me. No.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember a 300 baud modem. I think we started at 1200.
Yeah.
A 300 baud. When did you have a 300 baud modem? Was it like 286 territory?
I had that. I think it's for my Commodore 64. I think I had a 300 baud modem. And
what did you call into for the Commodore 64?
It was like right at that time before BBSs were happening. They had some like weird, it was kind of like information sites. It was like you log in, it would almost be the equivalent of like a website, I think, where you would go to like a page from a company or a designer or something. You could see like tips about their video game or something. I remember doing it, but I don't remember too much about what it was. Like it was exciting at the time, but it didn't really stick. But I think I went through a 300 baud, and then a 1200, and then what was after that? 1200, 2400 baud modem, and then I jumped to a 9600 baud modem. Then you go to like a
14400.
Yeah, and then like a 19.2. Like it was. And I think they used to double the 19s. I think that they like would somehow double the speed and go up to like 38, like 38.4 or something.
I never had one of those. Just went to 56K after 14.4.
Or 56K. No, that's what it was. Yeah, I think they did like a 3800 thing, and then they did the 56. I forgot about the 56. I was on 56.
That was like it.
Yeah, and then cable modems or cable internet and DSL kind of happened. So,
yep, that's exactly it. 56K was like the top, and then after 56K, they did DSL and cable modems, and they were like, "We're not making other kinds of modems anymore.
Yeah.
Like, this is it. We're done."
Yeah, I remember because it was right around 2000 that I got the cable modem, and oh my god, like that was like a dream come true to get a cable modem and just have an online, have an always on connection instead of having to like dial in and all that stuff. Like it was amazing.
Yeah. So I ran tech support for the internet service providers back then. So we, a lot of people around here might not know it, or if you're younger, back in the day, you had local internet service providers. You didn't have like Time Warner. You didn't have Spectrum or friggin' Cox or any of these guys. They weren't running that crap. It was run by local people. So you always had like we had Prexar, and we had the Maine Internetwork till I lived in Maine, and they thought they were clever. And so I worked for the Maine Internetworks as a tech. So basically what we did all day long was go into people's email and take erroneous text out of their headers so that their email boxes were not clogged anymore. That was like the thing I did the most while I was at that job. But I was friends with a guy that I grew up with down the road from, who now is like a super genius computer programmer and lives in Japan. But he was best friends with the dude that was the son of the owner of the Maine Internetworks. Wow. So in their house, they had like the 3 megabit connection.
Yeah.
And it was a fucking huge deal to have a 3 megabit connection in your home. And so like it was awesome going over there and playing Quake.
Yeah.
It's like the best. We go over there, we play internet Quake. Everybody would kill each other, and we play with other people across the nation, and it was fun.
Wasn't that back
that was
when
a big deal?
Like, what didn't they used to call those like T1 lines or T2, T3 lines and stuff?
Oh no. So T1 lines still exist. T1 lines and T3s and all that stuff. Or I think they're phasing them out, or they might be fully phased now. But T3s are what fiber is replacing, as far as I'm aware in my brain.
Okay.
I'd have to check again. But so the T3 lines, the T1 lines back then were what was running to the fucking ISP from wherever. The T1 lines were running to the ISP, and then the ISP was running cable to your house.
Gotcha. I just remember this. I remember the terminology, but I never quite knew what any of that was. I just remember back then it was super expensive, and it's like nobody could afford it unless you're rich.
It looks like you're right. Hold on. I feel wrong, and so I'm looking. But 1.5 megabit is T1. So yeah, you're right. It was a T1 line.
Okay.
Dude, my brain's old. I have an old person brain.
I was kind of guessing. Like I didn't quite know the technical side of that, but I remember back then I remember when I got the cable modem that there was whispers, there's this T1 line and this T2 line and T3 line, and you're like, holy shit, that sounds amazing. How fast is it? Because I think cable, I mean, it was like 10 megabit down or something. I don't remember. It was something awful. And then like all the other fancy ones were super fast.
Well, no. So this T1 is T1's 1.5 megabit.
Oh, 1.5 megabit.
Yeah. So you like I was saying, you were right. Like it's fucking nothing. And then T3 is only friggin' 44 megabit, and then T5 is 540 megabit.
Huh.
So it looks like probably around the time. Let me see. I don't even know if they even. Nope. After T5, it's all over. So T5 probably got replaced by fiber.
Interesting.
I'm not sure. I don't know the history of the infrastructure of cable.
Yeah.
So I just remember like bits and pieces, and obviously I was inaccurately portraying what
hey,
that
we were
was.
both wrong.
No, you were right. I was wrong.
Steve Jobs says,
you're like, isn't that T1? I'm like, no, fuck you. It's not a T1. And you're like humbly like, oh, I was wrong. I'm like, but I just told you were right. What the fuck? You're still saying you're wrong. I don't get it.
I was kind of guessing anyway. I mean, like, I didn't know. I wasn't like, I think it's this. It was like, it was just like, that was the thought in my head. I was like, what was T1? I just remember that there was T1 and T3s and stuff back then that were super fancy. Maybe that was right before cable was coming in. Maybe it was like right, like in that between space between dial-up and cable that they had, like before cable became mainstream or something. I don't know. It's interesting. Now, Steam Job is saying T1s and PRIs still exist. They're being replaced by SIP trunks. Steam Job does this stuff for his life, so he knows.
Oh,
but I don't know.
I was right.
I don't know what any of that stuff means. Goober Apocalypse also is an SME for a telecom for a few years ago on PRIs. T1 still exists. The modulation is different. OCN came into play to replace copper T1s for higher speeds. See, these guys are smart brains. I don't know anything about. I don't even know these words. It's all letters and mumbo jumbo.
I know most of what they're saying. I don't know what PRIs are.
It sounds like a STD. Like, dude, this chick gave me the PRI again.
It's a pretty righteous infection. It's an STD when you're a surfer in Australia. Yeah.
Pretty righteous infection.
That's right.
So what got you into considering, doing video games for a living? Like, what kind of drew you into the YouTube things and streaming things? Was there a moment that you're like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try this, and we're going to see what happens? Or was it just more of like a whim that you're doing stuff and you're like, I'm just going to keep doing this and see where it goes? Like, was there a conscious decision, or was it just you kind of fell into it, I guess?
It's a short, long story.
Yeah.
So back when YouTube was starting to be a thing and people like Joe Schmoes were starting to be content creators, I looked at it and was like, I don't know. I mean, that looks fun. I would like to do it. It would combine like performance arts plus video games. Like, I'll be able to do this whole thing. And then I never really did anything about it. But Justin had the same thought around the same time in a different state. Unknowingly, we had different, the same thoughts. And then he decided he was going to do it. So he started doing it, and I was just like, whatever. And I was living my life, partying my ass off and hanging out with ladies and just doing whatever, fucking off. And then he started to get pretty big. I think it's not really super related, but one thing that makes a huge difference is my son was born. And so I decided to stop being a party kid, and I went to college and kind of turned my life around a little bit. And during that time, Justin came home to live with my folks, and I was there for a separate reason, having to do with having a baby that lived in a different country. Right. And I saw that he was actually starting to have some success in it, and that it wasn't he's my brother and I know him, and I'm like, he's a smart dude and I'm a smart dude, so it can't be that difficult. I should be able to pull this kind of thing off. We thought about doing this a long time ago, and so I did the thing. I gave it a shot for a minute, where we did Cube World. I did 5 episodes of Cube World, and then the developers of Cube World kind of took the money and ran. At that time, they're kind of douchebags, and I was busy with other shit, and it wasn't super serious. I was just giving it a shot, and so I took a break. And then later on, after that, Justin had even more success, and I was like, man, I was in college and I was doing really, really well in college, and I had some spare time, and I was like, fuck it, I'll try it again. And at that time, it was when Pooping Evolved started, Arc started, and it was way before anybody blew up or anything really happened with Arc. This was pre Slipgator being a giant.
Right.
This is pre-Giant Gator. And so I started playing with all those guys on the Pooping Evolve server, which was not, it was press Z to poop at first. And then we all kind of moved on to this other big thing, and it became a big thing. And then I became a big thing and a bigger thing. I'm still like super small fish, but yeah. And so that's how that all happened.
When did you move over to Twitch? How long have you been streaming on Twitch now?
Almost 4 years. It's almost 4 years now that I've been on Twitch.
Okay.
I want to answer your question without having a whole like novel this time.
And do you find that I feel like this has been the case for most people. Have you found that Twitch gives you more success than YouTube?
I'm sorry, that Twitch what?
Does Twitch give you more success than YouTube? Especially
I guess I should say lately. That's a loaded fucking question, sir.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like a lot of YouTubers tend to find more, or find that Twitch is a little, like, kind of taking over the YouTube, like, not necessarily taking over, but it seems like a lot of YouTubers have moved into Twitch. That I guess I should say, do you feel that Twitch seems to be more the future rather than doing static videos, like that the future is kind of moving into, like dynamic interaction and live streaming rather than doing video stuff?
I think there's always going to be a place for both. I think it's going to be something people love watching YouTube videos. They love having the non-interactive, just something to hang out in the background, and be like, it's more of like when I did YouTube videos, it was more of like a performance from beginning to end at 30-minute intervals. It's like a show. Not that my current thing is not like a show. It's just more, I don't know, like, this is what we're going to do today in ARC, and we go out and do it, and it's the adventure from beginning to end, and it's just like a very planned thing compared to just like winging it on Twitch. And so to more specifically answer your question about people coming over to Twitch, is it more successful, less successful, etc.? Back when we first started on YouTube, it was amazing. It was great. Revenue was good for everybody. There was just one defining moment that changed everything, was when we had the crash, when advertisers were getting upset about where their advertisements were getting placed, and a bunch of advertisers pulled their funding for AdSense, which is how ads are given to anybody on the internet, basically. I mean, there are other programs that do this, but AdSense is the biggest one. It's run by Google. And these advertisers pulled their funding, which basically made everybody across the board lose money. And at that time, I was doing really well. I was making enough money to support my family, and I actually left college. I was like, I don't need to do this right now. I don't want to fail my classes in college because I'm working 8 hours a week on YouTube. And I was becoming very successful. And I could have been super, super successful if I just kept doing what I was doing, because I had a lot of experience in it and had some momentum. But unfortunately, it went down to like $5,000 a year.
Right.
So that forced me to move to Twitch or find something to continue the career path. And that worked well for a very long time, and it was very successful. And the thing about that is why you're still seeing YouTubers move to the platform, is that it's never really bounced back 100%. And unless you're a super giant on YouTube, it's been very difficult for a lot of people sub 500,000 or even 250,000 or lower subs, because subs don't even really matter anymore. It's just kind of a measurement of what you might be getting for views, and that's not even correct anymore. I guess all kinds of things are changing that I'm not paying attention to on YouTube because I'm not a content creator there anymore.
Yeah.
But that's why you're seeing everybody come to Twitch and live streaming and gaming, mostly is because it seems that YouTube is ruining their platform. But it looks like we're guessing. There's a lot of speculation as to why this is happening, and I don't have all the answers. I just have speculation based on groups of other professionals that I speak with, and it seems like they started pushing people towards a paid platform for television viewing and that kind of thing. They want to control the content rather than have it be an open source content. Right. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, because that's kind of been brought up. A few of the other streamers that we've talked to, like, that's kind of how do they put it? I would give credit to which one said it. I don't remember now, but it's like if a person chooses to watch you for, I mean, you stream 8 hours a day. So like if a person chooses to watch you for 8 hours a day or 4 hours a day, they're choosing to watch you rather than spending money on cable television or a paid television service. So,
right.
And that's a big deal. And I think sometimes people don't really think of that, you know, like that's kind of a mind-blowing thing that if a person is, you know, they're choosing to spend their time watching you or any other streamer, to spend that time there rather than pay for cable television or pay for, you know, other things on, you know, pay for rentals or whatever. So it seems like at some point there's going to be some, you know, big level meeting with executives that are going to figure out like people are spending more money and more time here rather than on our services. So I'm curious if there's going to be some huge, you know, change in how the world deals with media and such in the future. But I don't know that we're quite there yet, because there's still so many good shows and people are still making millions of dollars being actors and such, I guess. But yeah, that it's going to be an interesting thing. Like if there's going to be a tipping point to where people no longer really care about static programming and they want live interactive, like, you know, because I think there's a thing to be said with somebody can sit down and watch you and say hello to you and you can say hello back to them. And for a lot of people, that's a huge thing. Just have that moment of interaction with a person that they enjoy watching their content. Like, you know, and you don't get that with a movie or a TV show. And I don't know. It's one of those things that I don't lay awake and think about, but it's one of those things in the back of my mind. It's like I'm curious what this is going to be like in 10 years, I guess. That's not really a question or anything.
No, it wasn't a question.
Kind of just rambling.
But no, I understand what you're saying though. Yeah, I think that the song "Stink Fist" by Tool said it best.
Yeah. Turn around, take my hand.
Well, no. So it's a metaphor for how much it takes to shock America, and it increasing and increasing. And it's the same for kind of like this kind of thing. I think what you're going to see is people are going to want that live thing like you're talking about. Live people, more crazy things happening. Someone to take their live show somewhere else, which we're starting to see the mobile packages get better so that people will start live streaming all kinds of things that they're doing all the time. And I bet you're going to start seeing people like "This is my life" and be part of my life all the time, more often. I think that is going to be the next big kind of live stream thing. And people are doing it now. Like some people are. This I can't remember the Hitch, this guy that backpacks and live streams. And he backpacks and hitchhikes across the United States, and that's what he does. He just live streams it, and whatever. And so when it's more reliable, like when we get some better satellite internet, basically, which Elon Musk is trying to accomplish right now, I think that you'll see a lot of people doing this shit. Like, here I am, I'm a friggin' professional mountain biker. Like, come with me every day of my life, and we'll mountain bike together.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then vicariously you'll live your mountain biking life through this guy while you're in a fucking corporate building, fucking doing accounting or whatever.
Yeah. Sindra actually had a very good question. How do you both? I'm going to defer this to you. As content creators, how do you deal with the perceived relationships between yourselves and viewers here on Twitch?
How do you deal with the perceived relationships?
Yeah.
I mean, how are they perceived is the first question.
Well, I guess.
What do you mean?
Probably like the perceived. I would think the perceived relationship that a viewer, the relationship a viewer may perceive that they have with you. Like.
Oh well, I mean, so you develop attachments to your viewership for the people that come in and stay and hang out, and they become friends, and you know it's just like. I don't know. It's a really interesting. I mean, you have a lot of different social things going on there. I'm trying to think. Social constructs are happening. Lots of social constructs are happening when you have a bunch of viewers. You know, like some viewers that I have had have came to meet me in certain instances, and I've had viewers. This is a huge loaded question.
Right.
I've had viewers send me very fucking unwanted messages,
Right.
sexual nature messages, all kinds of other things. So there's a certain arms like that you have to keep at times. Like no one can DM me anywhere. I'm not DMable by anybody that wants to for a reason, because I've gotten DMs that I don't want, and I don't want to read them. I don't want to have to block you. I don't want to have to read them and then block you because I read them. I want to just not ever get them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't have DMs open for those reasons. So that's like certain things that happen over your career with your viewers and create kind of standard ways of dealing with certain situations. But I'm happy to see people like QB3 just came in and subscribed for his 47th month. Next month for him, it's 4 years. Fucking QB3 is an amazing supporter. I see him not all that often. He's a lurker, but I'd be lost without him. He's fucking awesome, and he fucking supports me, and he's here, and he watches, and he's one of my first fucking subscribers of all time, and he means a lot to me.
Yeah.
So it really, and then I have some people that come in and chat and talk in the chat all the time. I have people that are have only been here for 7 months that are highly interactive, and they, I know some things about them, and they know obviously a ton about me, and it's just question is I just don't know where to go with it.
I think that was kind of I'm only guessing, like maybe that's what she was getting at was, does there come a time when there seem to be perceived lines that are crossed, and I think that works with I've heard stories of YouTubers talk about things like that too, like maybe they'll go meet them at a convention and they have this perception that they watch them on YouTube, therefore they're friends or they're best friends. Like you could, I think some people use the word friend either too seriously or too lightly. I tend to be a more lightly user, that I'm like, yeah, we're friends. Like, it doesn't mean we're friends, but it's like I feel like you can say the word friend in a social way without meaning like we're gonna braid each other's hair and and share a fucking banana split. But some people take that word to mean something much deeper, and I think I've heard YouTubers talk about things like that. They go to a PAX or something, and it's like a viewer that they've said hello to thinks that they're like soulmate twin flames, and they know everything about each other, and they're like, hold on, I don't actually know you at all. And or the fact that I guess maybe people I hear this a lot. I hear this a lot because I watch a lot of PewDiePie. We can talk about PewDiePie if you want to. I hear this a lot about. He talks about all the booby streamers and the booby tubers and such, that these people drop thousands of dollars on these women and think that they have a relationship with them, when it's like, no, you're just giving money to a stranger on the internet. But like I've never really reached that point of, like, I've never had stalkers. I've never had crazy messages. I've never had that kind of interaction, but I haven't been doing this nearly as long as you. So I figured you probably had some good stories about stuff like that. But that was my guess, is what she was getting at, is that there is a line of like, I'm doing this for entertainment, and it doesn't mean that we're best friends.
Right. As far as like the convention stuff and viewers, and that's like some of the reasons why you set up some of the boundaries that you do, is that people have different levels of social what is the word I'm looking for, Flitz? It's the opposite of ineptitude.
So social aptitude?
Yeah, I guess, sure.
Social grace?
There's a whole thing.
Yeah, I think I know there's a word that you're talking about.
Yeah, I just can't fucking think of the word right now. It's not aptitude either, but it's something. Anyway, people have different levels of social competence, like, and that maybe that was the word.
Yeah.
And so some. Oh, no, I still can't think of the word. Anyway, so there's some nerds out there that like just don't like have any sort of experience with being out in the world and talking to people, interacting with others, and having negative experiences that make it so that they curb those kind of behaviors, so that they can have positive experiences when they're out in the world talking to people and working with people. So it's just one of those things where when you're dealing with a large mass of people, I have had viewers since I started doing the job from all over the world. And then you deal with statistics. You're going to get people that are very good at dealing with people socially, and people that are not. And so when you go to a convention, you're going to meet people that are going to be good at this and not be good at this. And so because of knowing this, you set up certain boundaries ahead of time, or you don't, or you set them up as you learn. Like I don't eat things that come to my PO box. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's just these little rules that you either make for yourself or you don't. Like, I know some streamers do eat things that come to their PO box, and they're not dead. They haven't gotten anthrax, or they haven't gotten like anything weird, or like, but who knows? Maybe someone like pissed in their cookies.
Right.
Like, fucking, how would you know?
Or put hair in it. Just put hair in their pie.
Right. Like what? Like, how do you know? I mean, you don't know, and you don't know the people. You don't know that what they really do. Like, you could have someone that seems like the nicest person who does the weirdest fucking shit. Serial killers, fucking all kinds of weird stuff going on. And when you have to deal with a massive amount of people, you have to set yourself up for success. Like, and success in this case is, keeping your life and like maybe not having to deal with things that you just don't want to.
Yeah.
But yes,
like I said, I've really never had. I've always kind of been that guy in the background. Like, I've never, when I go to places, I know you, I know your brother, I know people in vaping community and stuff that, that are social media moguls and such. And I get to watch that awkwardness from other people trying to interact with them. And, so like, I've seen it, but like, I've never really had to deal with it. And, because I'm way too much of a pushover. Like, I would be really bad at it because I would just kind of let it happen probably if anybody was wanting to stalk me and came to a convention.
You
was
just
like,
let it
I'd just be
happen?
like, I'd maybe not, like, I wouldn't let them murder me or anything or skin suit me, but like, I don't know that I don't have the assertiveness to be like, bro, you need to go away. It's be like, I don't know, but I think other people would though. I think I would be with people that would be able to do that for me, but I don't know that I'm not that assertive type to be like, you need to fuck off. Like, you need to.
Oh, you mean like if you were at a convention?
Right.
Like specifically in person kind of deal?
Right.
Yeah, that gets interesting, right? So I understand what you're saying, and yeah, it's a tough one. There's a line, right? So people there, I've been with awkward people at conventions where I wasn't really like super happy with them. So what we end up doing is we end up not inviting them to places that we would invite other people to. You know what I mean? When they start to do things that are questionable, we're like, okay, we just, we'll not like make it a huge deal, but when we're ready to go for the night, we're like, okay, well, you have a good night, and then we leave and we walk away from them, and then we make plans with the other people.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, you don't want to be fucking an asshole. You're not trying to destroy this person's like life. You're not trying to make them feel sad or alienated. You don't want to. They're just different than you, and it's hard to judge when that line is like, there's a place, like if they start coming up to you and they're like, I suck your dick, and you're like, nah.
You're like, whoa.
No. I mean, like, I understand sexually we might be different, but you're not sucking my dick, and I do not appreciate that you offered either. Keep your mouth words to yourself.
Right.
And then so that's like there are definitely lines that you have to.
We did have one of the ladies in chat had mentioned, she said it was interesting to know from the male side of it that men also get weird sexual DMs rather than just women.
Oh yeah, you want a story? I'll tell you a story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I did these Japan vlogs. These vlogs are when I was in Japan. That would be what Japan vlogs are. And so there was a point in Japan where I was in this restaurant, and the people there are they're very worried about inconveniencing each other or making each other feel socially awkward or having any sort of like interactions that are negative in that way. So when the waitress would come over to the table, I'd take the camera sometimes and I'd hide it. I'd put it in my lap, or like get it so she wouldn't feel like she's being filmed or interrupting something. And so one day I received this really long letter about this sexual fantasy that this viewer had created from this one time where this camera had gone down into my lap and then all of the things that came after this lap experience.
Right.
And then she started to tell me, like we went out into it was very detailed. Like we went out to the road, and there was a telephone booth involved, and like all of these other sexual places and things we did that day. And then after she told me this thing she'd written, this pornography about me, she proceeded to tell me what she was doing to herself right now.
Mm.
And then
Fun.
so after I read that was the day that I decided no one could ever DM me again. That's when I closed Discord and Twitter and every single place where I could receive a DM that I did not want that was 2 pages long.
Right.
Yeah, that was the end of that, because I didn't I was doing very well at that time, had a lot of interaction with a lot of people. This was YouTube heyday. I had a lot of Patreon subscribers. I was doing like really well on Patreon, and I was just like, okay, well, we're gonna have to find ways to make this more of like right now, if you want DM access to me, it's like $25 a month on Patreon. I figured that's a good way to weed out all the weirdos, and if a person gets weird, then it's super easy. I can just be like, nope, one person, blocked. Yeah. Also, you're gone on Patreon. Right. Don't ever talk to me again. Don't want to know you. Don't talk about how you suck my dick in a Japanese restaurant, please.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, because, I mean, it is kind of like there are 7+ billion people in the world. And I think as especially like from your perspective and as a seasoned streamer and YouTube creator, like, do you feel it's worth trying to salvage like an awkward interaction with a viewer rather than be like, no, you're gone? There are 7 billion other people that can be a viewer. Like, I don't want to say that people are replaceable, because sometimes they kind of are, though, right? Like, do you find it better to try to patch out like any kind of weird awkwardness with the viewer rather than just be like, no, you're blocked, there's another person can take your place?
You're going to find this to be different between every single content creator that you talk to. But I think you're going to find most people just will be like, all right, well, it's not worth the negative things you're bringing to my life and to my chat. Like, so I'm going to remove you from the situation so that you don't create problems in places where you'll affect other people that are also offended by the things you're saying.
Right.
There's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of good, like actually good reasons that the consumer or viewer will not think about for a content creator to just, if you start to do weird shit, fucking disavow knowledge of you and just get rid of you. Because it's hard when you start to have a ton of viewership to be polite to everybody that is going to really negatively impact your monkey sphere, which is like your sphere of influence, your chat, the people that are around you. Personally, I will try personally to deal with people before I let them push my buttons.
Yeah.
Or I'll try to have a conversation with them. I actually, like, my mods will take care of things before I would. My mods will ban people way faster than I would.
Right.
And I just like go with it most of the time. I'm just like, whatever. They probably know better than me. My mods, it's probably okay. This is what would happen in 99% of other places. But yeah, no, I think that I would try to salvage a relationship with a viewer more often than not. Like, at least have a conversation about something. Yeah. Before I would just cut it off. But with this particular person, I just cut them off.
I tend to, because we'll get troll, especially because we're on just chatting right now. So I often get the most trolls when you're under just chatting. And I'm kind of maybe similar, that I like to kind of toy with them a little bit. Like, it's one of those things, people come in and they'll say something and it's like, you're going to have to do better than that. Like, you're not going to offend me with whatever shitty insult you're trying to throw at me. Like, you're going to have to try harder. Unless you can tell me, it's like, oh, fuck your mother. Like, again, you're going to have to, like, do something, make fun of my mustache, make fun of my hair, make whatever it is. Like, you're going to have to try harder, because I've heard it all before. And there have been times that they're like, oh, wait, this guy's kind of cool, I'm going to hang out. And so, yeah, I mean, you can kind of turn those people around. Like, maybe they're cool people, maybe they're not, but Like usually it's you know 12-year-olds that are trying to have fun on the internet, but you know, somebody had a good question. I missed it. Or is it at?
If someone comes into your chat and they fucking insult you like right away, they're fucking not worth your time. I don't give a fuck what they said.
I mean, generally it's true. I just usually like to. I kind of want to belittle them. You know, just like it's like walking in a room being like, "Fuck that guy," and you're like, "Why fuck me? What did I do to you? Who? Why? Tell me why. Give me a reason why you want to insult me." And then if they're still at it, then it's like, "Yeah, you're gone." Syndra said, "How do you feel, if applicable, about random people approaching you in daily situations rather than at conventions and stuff? Like if somebody came up to you at a grocery store or a restaurant or something."
I'm not that cool, Cinder. I'm sorry. That's happened to me one time ever, and that was it was fucking the weirdest fucking place for it to happen. It was in line at Disney for a ride.
Right.
And the greatest thing was that they didn't approach Slipgator. He was right next to me. I was like, okay, all right. Yep. So this one guy just knew who I was and was like, "Hey, are you?" And I was like, "Yep." And he's like, "Selfie." I'm like, "Sure, whatever, man. See you later." We talked a little bit.
Yeah.
He ended up coming and watching me later and saying, "This is who I am," and all this bullshit. But yeah,
that's cool.
It's never really happened. But if when it did, I wasn't like, wasn't worried. It was all good. The guy was nice. He didn't fucking do anything weird. He fucking just wanted a picture and just moved on.
Yeah. And those are usually the good interactions. I mean, it's like I don't necessarily find it awkward if somebody sees you and they're like, "Hey, you're so and so. I appreciate what you do. Can I take a picture with you?" And you're like, "Cool." And you fist bump and then they leave. Like for everybody wondering, like that's a pretty solid interaction with somebody that you don't know. Like if you're a viewer of a YouTuber or even a movie star, like if you happen to see them and you happen to be in a situation where, you're in line, or something at fucking Disney and you're like, "You're Johnny Depp." And he's like, "Yeah." And you're like, "Cool. I appreciate you." Like that's enough. You don't have to be like, "Oh my God, I loved you in Edward Scissorhands," or just be like, "Cool. I appreciate that. I like what you do. Thank you for what you do." And then you go on about your day. That's the perfect interaction that you need to have. That way you don't come across as being too intrusive. And I was going to say, funny you said about Disney, because whenever I was with Slip at Universal Studios, whenever I had visited, somebody recognized him at Universal. So it's funny that you were at Disney and he was at Universal, but unrelated.
Oh, dude, I don't know. It was like it could have been Disney. It could have been anywhere.
Yeah.
I call it all Disney.
Yeah.
Disney, Universal, MGM, like all that shit, Epcot, all that bullshit. I just call it all Disney.
Right.
I've been doing that since I was like 5.
Right.
So I'm not sure which line at what fucking park we were at. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that makes sense though, because there's always people that are visiting or people that are locals. Like there could be anybody from anywhere in the world could be at a Disney park. So, was it a local or was it like a person that was traveling? Like, did they happen to run into you on their vacation? Do you know the story? I want to know more about this person now.
Yeah, his name's Sir Winnie the Pooh, and he was like, I don't really know much about him.
Yeah.
He played fucking like Apex Legends or some sort of FPS game. He ended up streaming, and I saw him, and he was a normal dude. He was taller than me. He was like, just normal. It looked like kind of like a frat boy.
Yeah,
just kind of like a normal guy. As far as like where he came from, what he was doing, where he lives, like I didn't really like. We didn't become like buds. I didn't like. And even if I did ask him where he was from, and I may have or talk to him about it, because just to shoot the shit in line, I don't have a good enough memory to remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday.
Right.
Where this guy came from is just a random person I met one time. I wish I did, man. I really want to. I really want to know everything about everything that happened to me, but I just don't.
Jojo Panda asked, "What about hugs? Are hugs acceptable from strangers?"
That will depend on how your interaction with me goes when we first meet. I will be okay with it if you're not fucking weird. If you're fucking weird about it, I'll probably still give you a hug, but I'll be like, ah. It's probably the same. It's the same like if you met some weird person that was like,
yeah,
"Hi, can I hug you?"
And you're like,
I mean, I guess.
You're like,
Oh,
cool.
so right. So COVID though, that kind of makes it different. And then so here's the deal too. Like, who are you talking? Who's hugging me? Is it
Right.
fucking? Is it someone who's been in my chat for like a month, or someone I've known for like 4 years? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then still, like, if they're really fucking weird and I've known them for 4 years, and when I see them, they're like try to like tickle my grundle, and no, I don't want to hug you.
Tickle
It's
my
not like a thing.
grundle.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if they just are like cool and they're like, "Hi," I'm like, "Oh man, that's it. It's nice to meet you." I'm like, "Oh great, have a hug." If they're like, "Oh, I'll stick my finger in your anus," I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah, like if they hug you and they pat you on the ass when they hug you.
oh yeah,"
And
then
you're
you're
like,
like,
"Whoa,
"Get
whoa,
the
whoa."
fuck away from me." You know? Them ass cheeks are taken.
Sorry, I was we kind of got sidetracked now. So yeah, gaming and popularity and Twitch and interactions with people. Shit. I was just reading chat and then I was like, what else are we gonna even talk about? So you've been
My
streaming for
chat
like
stopped working.
you've been streaming for
man.
4 years. What was my follow-up question with that? It keeps going in and out of my freaking brain. You'd mentioned with the YouTube stuff that you were you enjoyed the performance art aspect of it. Were you into performing arts like before you started doing all that? Like, was that are you into? I know you play music.
Yeah, I
Were
was
you
a
into?
theater kid, and I played music, and I wanted to be in a band, and I wanted to do that whole thing, like be on stage and tour, and and I did plays growing up and all that kind of stuff. And I always wanted to be an actor, and but unfortunately, I'm from Maine, and so when I got into my high school stuff, I was gonna be Caesar and Julius Caesar. They like
Nice.
cast it, they picked me, and then it was like nobody wanted to do theater that year.
Mm,
And so everybody was gonna have like 5 parts, and like it was just really hokey production. And I was like, nah, and I just went and partied instead.
yeah. Oh, Ashley was asking, do you have a favorite game of all time?
Final Fantasy IV.
Final Fantasy IV. Just quickly, just didn't even have to think about that.
It was just one. It's hard to say, man. Like it's hard. It's hard. That yes, for my whole life, that was the answer to my favorite game of all time. And then when I got older, I stopped having favorite everythings. So
Yeah.
I don't really have favorite anythings anymore. I like everything, and I like variety, and variety is important. I do that with my food. I do that with my friends. I do it with my everything. Everything's variety. So when you ask me my favorite movie, like I don't have one. When you ask me
Right.
like anything, but the game that hit me the most growing up was a role playing game. I loved the story. I'm getting tattoos of 8-bit Cecil on fucking Paladin and Dark Knight on both of my arms. Like that was the game that really did it for me.
So was there something special about the game that pulled you in, or was it like a time in your life that you played it, or what would you relate that to?
It was really just this. It was just the story. It was just back then. Like I said, I came from a place where we played role playing muds, and I played role playing games. I played Dungeons and Dragons, like tabletop with people, and this particular story was a good story. I liked it. I was young, so I wasn't like college educated. It wasn't like
Right.
so. I mean, though today, if you go back and you look at the story, it wasn't like super, super, super fucking amazing. What we had to work with back then was different too, and it was the story of a dark knight who was deceived by his king. His king was possessed by a demon called Golbez, or like a demon-ish kind of figure guy, and it's Cecil's adventure through meeting different people, trying to discover who he was, and he ends up at the top of this mountain in this mirror room, and he fights himself, the Dark Knight, and becomes the Paladin, and then moves through the game and saves the lady and defeats Golbez, and I don't know, man, just rub me in the right places.
Classic fucking Golbez.
Do you remember Gomez?
No, I really never played the Final Fantasy games. I didn't do a lot of role playing stuff when I was younger.
No.
I mean, like, I wouldn't say Zelda is a role playing game. I mean, you did get kind of stats and stuff, but
I mean, it is.
it's
Yeah, I mean,
that was about my limit. Like, I would say the first real role playing game that I got into, and it's probably like one of my answers, my early answer, kind of like with you. I like a lot of different stuff now, but one of the games that stood out to me was Daggerfall, Elder Scrolls 2. Daggerfall. I played for eons. I played for years.
That's funny because I didn't play that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a shitty version of Skyrim now. You know, it's like, I mean, it's the same concept of like going around to different places and adventuring and side quests, and you just kind of exist in this world. Yeah, it's like
that
old.
was a 3D game.
It was like late 90s,
Gotcha.
mid 90s, mid to late 90s ish. So it was like on the era of like post Doom, but pre. Like, well, it was before everything started getting really sharp graphics. It was like early 3D, but it played the same way. It was still like first person 3D action RPG.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah, the Final Fantasy IV was like 8-bit, so old fucking shits.
Yeah,
even older than that. But yeah, I'm looking at this stuff.
Yeah, Daggerfall was
it was
PC era. It was like Pentium PC era.
It looks like good stuff.
But it was.
Yeah, I didn't play that shit. Yeah, no, I didn't get into Elder Scrolls until Oblivion.
Yeah, I missed. I went through a bad breakup right after, or like right when Morrowind was coming out. So I've skipped Morrowind and I've skipped Oblivion, and I have them. I just never got around to playing them. But it was always exciting because it's like, dude, Morrowind is going to be like fucking the next Daggerfall. But I never got into it. We did have, Survey Said was asking, you mentioned being in bands. What were some of your band names?
Oh, Jesus Christ. You know, you would ask that, wouldn't you? One of them was called, the straight edge Christian hardcore band was named Insight.
Insight, okay.
Yep. And then, I mean, I don't even know if we had a name. Like the band that I played in, where we like played parties and stuff, I don't even know if we had a name. Like we didn't end up playing out any serious venues with that band. The straight edge Christian hardcore band I played at Jester's in Waterville, Maine. We played on stage.
Nice.
We got paid. Yeah,
it's a paid gig.
14.
I mean, that's a paid gig. You were a true musician. If you got paid for a gig.
No, the music scene in Maine blew, and then. Eventually, like when I was like 17 years old and I was singing with this band, we broke up, and then I was just like, man, it's so fucking hard. It was so hard to like get people together there, and I just gave up. I was like, screw it, I don't care anymore. I got better things to do than to try to do this thing that just has no fucking chance of success.
Right. Cedric was asking about the streaming attitude change going from PG to PG-13 / adult language. Was it a tough decision? What made you change it, and how do you feel it affected you and your stream? It's a very insightful question coming from Cedric. Well done.
Yeah. Hi, Cedric. I'm not reading Flitz's chat, by the way. I probably should have it up, but I just haven't thought of it yet.
Yeah.
Should get it up. And Flitz is conveying all the things to me, so I don't have to. So the decision to change to PG-13 rated R chat was because I had been busting my ass 80 hours a week for fucking years on YouTube, being fucking Mazion on YouTube, and I wasn't able to vape when I worked, and that was probably the biggest thing. Yeah. That's one of the, and then another, and that's funny. I had people. Cedric worked with me, and so did a bunch of our friends, and a bunch of them did not like working because they had to watch their mouths. They did not like doing YouTube videos that much, and it bothered them. And I wanted them to play, and I wanted it to be fun. I wanted to Twitch to be a good, positive, fun experience. So, in the interest of like, I needed to vape. I wanted to vape. I was like, I don't want to sit there for 8 hours live and not be able to vape, even though I don't vape anymore.
Shame on you.
Well, I vape once in a while. I've got a little CBD vape here, but I don't vape nicotine anymore.
Yeah.
So in the interest of being able to vape all the time, I was like, well, if I'm going to vape anyway, I may as well just swear if I want to swear, beat myself, do what I do, but play video games on the internet here. It'll probably be a refreshing change for a lot of people. I probably will have, I'll probably relate better live to an adult audience anyway.
Right.
There's a lot of considerations to be made for it. And I was also going to be leaving the ARC scene. So that really killed my child audience.
Right.
So I've made a lot of decisions that were difficult for me, like leaving ARC and all kinds of things. And I think in the end, what I'm trying to do is move towards something that is more natural, if that makes sense.
Right. The more in line with you as a person rather than having put on such an act.
Right. Yep.
Well, maybe not an act. That's a strong word, but yeah. I mean, like I feel like as an
suppress.
Yeah,
right.
As an adult, I mean, I feel like we, whether we choose to use inappropriate language for situations, whatever, that if we cuss, I think some people see cussing as like you're not supposed to cuss, blah blah blah. But it's like if this is if me as a person, and this is how I express myself using the vocabulary that I have, that's me being in a natural setting rather than having to, like you said, suppress how you would normally communicate. So I'm with you on that. Like I would find it very difficult if I tried to mask language or mask words that I want to use. Because I mean I always found cursing to be a very interesting thing. Like I can cuss like a sailor, but I don't cuss in front of my parents. Like even as an old man, like I still don't cuss in front of my parents because it feels awkward. Like it feels inappropriate. Even though they do, like it doesn't feel right for me to. I don't know. It's like I think sometimes there are those weird lines of maybe younger people feel like as adults or role models or something, people that they look up to, like they want us to be pure and not use these bad words or something. I don't know. I don't really know where that truly comes from, but
parents.
Yeah, I guess it could be. I did have, what was the other one? So, and also segue. So is Cedric has been around for a long time? Is this somebody that you've known forever? Cedric's always been a cool guy, coming in chat and stuff. I didn't realize that he was around.
It depends. I'm not, as long as it's the same person. SCEDRIC, Cedric.
Cedric, yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. So Cedric's been in a bunch of my YouTube videos on Rocket League and probably some other games.
Okay, I never knew. I mean, I got the feeling that Cedric had known you guys for a long time, but I never really knew where that came from. So that's
I
cool.
think he's almost 4 years subscriber. He's been with me for the whole time. Basically, Cedric was a viewer of Slipgator, and he was also a patron of Slipgators, and I was interacting with Slipgators patrons, and I can't remember how or why, but Cedric probably knows the story. So for some reason we got on the Let's Play Rocket League together kick, and then we became friends, and that's
cool
how that rolls. But he probably has a more vivid memory of what happened. I'm not good at that shit. I'm fucking terrible. terrible friend.
Raven had another good question. Let me read this first. Okay, so when playing a game, do you choose to play the character from the outside, playing it as a gamer playing the character, or do you choose to play the role of the character, like to be immersed and feel that you are the character in the game?
Both.
Yeah. Depends on the game, I guess.
Depends how I feel. Yeah. Depends on how I feel, how the game is given. I was actually thinking about doing... wait. So were we talking about tabletop?
I would guess probably any game. I mean, I think that would kind of apply to anything, either video games or tabletop stuff, I guess.
I was thinking about doing YouTube again, just something easy, not like time intensive, but something I can just kind of throw up onto YouTube because people have been asking for it for a really, really long time, and I thought I'd bring it back. Where I would do like some sort of survival game, but instead of doing it as myself, which I did all of my YouTube career, and then I did. And I have been doing on Twitch, create a character and then do this character's experience, starting in this world and then how they navigate the world and doing something like that. I've been thinking about doing that lately.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it would be easier to make a 30-minute episode quick and easy if I was acting during it. And I wouldn't have to worry about like cutting things out or like the process of how long it takes to like cut down trees and build a house or whatever. I just cut down trees and talk and like think, and
it's like you're living
person in the world.
Yeah, like you're living your life as the person. It's
right,
like you're
exactly.
It's like your adventures as being Joe Bob arc character guy.
Yeah.
No, that's cool though. Are you gonna do a voice if you choose to do that? Are you gonna give him a voice, or are you gonna use your voice? Is that a trade secret? Do we have to wait and see?
I'm not sure, man. I might do. It depends. I might do something different. I think more likely than not, he'll be Mazion. Like, you know what I mean? Like he'll be old school fucking YouTube fucking Mazion guy.
Yeah.
I
did have a question. I'm not familiar with this book. Have you ever read the Malazan Book of the Fallen series by Steven Erikson?
Nope.
And if not, what is your favorite fantasy series if you read fantasy?
Nope.
No. Okay.
So the long answer, the short answer ish, medium answer question, or words, medium question answer. Sorry, I'm not usually up this late. I read books a lot when I was a kid, up until the point where I started partying hard, and then I stopped reading books and I started consuming media with my eyeballs and like watching movies and stuff. And I didn't really care about reading very much, which is terrible decision, kids or adults. If you're an adult, stop being dumb. If you're a kid, stop being dumb. Read books, make you smarter.
Right. I haven't read books in a long time. I think the last book I actually read was Fight Club, which is a really good book, but it's awkward if you've already seen the movie. I would love to know as far as books, I would love to know the feeling of reading that book not knowing the story, because you can still pick out the hints. Like and I'm not going to ruin anything, just in case anybody has not seen Fight Club, go see Fight Club because it's amazing. But go watch Fight Club. But knowing what happens in the movie, there are hints, like there's subtle things that happen and subtle things that the way things are said. And it does the same thing in the book. But I'm curious, like I would love to know the mindset of like reading that book without having that foreknowledge of what happens. But I think that was the last book that I read, unrelated. So I had to scroll down through chat. I missed. Cedric was telling us. Cedric said, you're bored one night in TeamSpeak, in the TS. Is that TeamSpeak? And I was playing Rocket League with Eddie, and I was like, hey Maz, you want to join us in Rocket League? And that's how it started. Offered to help moderate newly started supporter ARC server for a while, and just continued to play games together and grow and be friends and love each other. I added the last part.
I'm like, I read that. That's not what it said.
Dr. Seps is leaving. Seps, I'm late. Seps, thanks for hanging out, buddy. Seps is going to bed. Where did you come up with the name Mazion? And also, just to correct this for everyone, because I honestly don't know, is it Mazion or Mazion?
It's Mazion.
It's Mazion. Okay, I feel like I say Mazion more so.
Right. Phonetically, if you pronounce Mazion, M-A-Z-I-O-N, there is a consonant then vowel. There's a vowel then consonant then vowel, so it's a long A.
Right. Good point.
But then if you drop the I-O-N off the end, then you just call me Maz, not Maze.
Right.
Yep.
So where did that name come from?
I was 11 years old or so, and I played Dungeons and Dragons, and I created a illusionist conjurer wizard and his name was Mazion, and he was gray old man.
So it's just a random slew of letters that you came up with and
That
made
I
the
just fucking threw together. Yep, just threw it
Nice.
together. I'm like, this will be great, Mazion, and then fucking. I learned later, like 20 years later, that it's also like a village in France or some shit.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, so that's where I came up. I mean, that was my name too. Like I threw letters together and made up a character name for a book. Not a book, for a story. So yeah, so it makes sense. It just made up names.
Yep.
Cave Enclave wants to ask what your beard care routine is like.
Okay, here you go. Let me crack my knuckles, crack my neck. Done this before. All right. So what you do if you want to have a beard and you want to have it long? Right now, like I didn't groom today or shower, so my beard is like fucking disgusting. But you wake up in the morning. Every morning you have to take a shower. You're gonna make sure that you rinse your beard out real good. You don't wash it with soap. You don't wash it with shampoo. You don't put any conditioner in it because you don't want to strip the natural oils out, and you don't want to replace the oils or the follicle hair areas or the holes that your hair has. You don't replace that with conditioner, so you don't use any of that bullshit. You wash your beard with shampoo one time per week on Monday. Only Monday, fuckers.
Only Monday.
That's right. That's when I do mine. Then you have different kinds of oils. You have dry oil and wet oil. You use wet oil and make sure you rub it into your face. It's good for your root follicles. You want to make sure that you don't have reddening face conditions or anything like that. That's what the wet oil is. You put it all the way in there. Fucking scrub that right into your face, motherfuckers. And then I'm adding the motherfuckers because I've told the story so many times. I'm trying to make this more like Samuel L. Jackson-esque.
Motherfucker.
This is what you do with your and so then you comb your whole shit so that you get that through there. Usually I do something else for a minute just to let the water and the oil kind of set in and do all its bullshit. Then after that you put dry oil in it. The dry oil is going to make it soft. It's going to work on your beard. If you decide that you're going to try to like tease it or do anything with a hairdryer, it's also going to protect it. And then you have to comb that shit all through your beard. Then you take a brush and boar hair brush, and you brush it all straight up, and then you take a picture for Instagram. Done many times. and then you brush it side to side and down until you get to the bottom of your chin. You don't want to brush it into your neck because then you'll have a fucking weird dress beard. So just when you get to the bottom there, you stop doing that and you just brush straight down, let it be long, and then you're done. And if you have any problems with your beard after that, that's when your hair dry. You do like hair dry bullshit to make sure that it's straight if it like flips up like a girly girl.
Got it. I can't grow a beard at all, so I don't even know. Speaking of routines, how do you feel about tea tree oil? Do you use tea tree oil in any of your cleansing? I'm a fan
my
of
beard or my hair.
In any part of your body. Are you a fan of tea tree oil? We're talking about dudes grooming now.
I have bad psoriasis on my scalp.
Yeah.
And so it was always an adventure trying to figure that out growing up. And there was a period of time for like fucking 5 years where I used tea tree, and it was the only thing that would make my scalp okay. And then it just stopped working. So I haven't used it for like 15 years.
Interesting. I just switched over for my face. I'd switched to tea tree oil soap for my face. I have oily skin. I'm human. I'm not perfect, everybody. I have oily skin, so I use tea tree oil soap. I just started it. It seems to be working. Gooberpocalypse wants to know, how do you feel about Dollar Shave Club?
How do I feel about Dollar Shave Club? I never looked into it. I don't really need to. There's no purpose. Like, what do you? So here's my theory. I did this whole gimmicky fucking razor shit forever, where we started off with a certain, you have the one blade razor, and then 2 blades, and then you get 3 blades, and then you got 5 blades. I did this whole shit. I followed this line. And then one day, after the 5-blade razors, I bought a 1-blade razor, and I was like, oh my God, this razor's amazing. And it was just a big fucking throwaway 1-blade razor, fucking 10-cent, whatever bullshit.
Yeah.
And then that day, I was like, I'm never fucking buying that other fucking rope me into having to buy your Gillette shit, you know what I mean, for the rest of my life again. So now I just buy a bag of fucking razors, and then I bitch about how they're not recyclable.
So it's not a difficult question. This is a let's get real question. I want you to be ready. Is there a thing Actually, as soon as I said the question in my head, I feel like I know part of the answer. Is there a thing, as a streamer, is there a thing that viewers do that they should not do for you personally? Like, don't say this,
Oh my
don't
Lord.
do that, don't. But like, do you find yourself repeating the same thing over and over about a certain thing that just bugs you to no end? Let's get
In
this
my
off your
head
chest.
or out on paper? Like where? Something that bugs me. So, dude, it's really hard to bother me.
Yeah.
Um,
And in my head, I was like, "Oh, the talking monkey thing." We were like, "I'm not doing tricks for you. Don't tell me to do things."
oh,
But,
well, yeah,
like,
that's gotten old.
like for like let's say for another streamer, he doesn't like to hear the word arc. Like, do you have triggers that people often do in your stream that you're like, I wish that people wouldn't do this? Like, maybe you don't say it out loud. Maybe like it just kind of slowly kills you on the inside that you're like, I kind of wish people wouldn't do this. Do you have any of those things?
Jeez, I wish people wouldn't do this. I mean, I think the only thing, man, it doesn't bother. Things don't bother me, Flitz. I'm not botherable. It doesn't. I don't get bothered easily. Yeah. So that thing, when people ask me to say something, or like I'm not a parrot, don't tell them.
Yeah.
Ask me to do something like blow smoke rings. I'm like, I'm not a monkey. Don't
Right.
fucking tell me to blow smoke rings. Those are like the biggest ones. You knew those already, though.
Yeah, that came to my head as soon as I was thinking of the question.
Yeah, no, those are the biggest ones. I just think it's like you don't go into someone's channel and just tell them what to do. Like you don't go into someone's house and be like, dude, fucking get up on the table and dance. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, you don't come into my fucking chat and be like, dude, fucking, I would like to hear you do fart noises with your armpits. I'm like, I'm not. And sure, $100, I'll do fart noises with my armpits. Like, I'm not just gonna do whatever the fuck you want me to do. Like, it's not what this is about, man. So I don't know. Those are the biggest things. Now the only thing, faux pas.
Yeah.
This is a faux pas for me to tell you.
Okay.
But the thing that everyone on the internet should know is don't give subs to people. just give your streamer a tip.
Yeah. Spend the money, like PayPal it instead of gifting subs.
Stop giving half of your money to Twitch. They don't need it. Your streamer needs it.
Yeah.
Like, and those subscribers that are going to receive those gift subs, I know you want to support your streamer, but those people aren't coming back. They don't give a fuck.
Right. And it's true.
Now, sorry,
it's true. I mean, it is true. It's
No,
one of
I
the
don't.
like I yeah, because it's as a streamer, like a streamer would never really say that to somebody gifting subs. Like, it's all
I'll never say it
generous.
again.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
like it's all generous and amazing. But yeah, there's that point where it's like you're gonna get half of that, or and Twitch is gonna get a half of it, and it would be better spent to just give it directly. But yeah, I mean, everybody has their choice on how they want to, what they want to do with their money, of course.
Yep, doesn't matter. It's their choice. That's
Yeah.
really what it comes down to, and that's why you never hear anybody say anything about it, and that's why I never say anything when it happens. And I know people also want to be on the gift sub leaderboard, and I think
Right.
that's fucking cool as fuck. So if you want to be on the gift sub leaderboard, and or if also they might not want to support you in any other way, like they might not throw support. So if this is the one way they will support, then it's super fucking helpful anyway.
Yeah.
But if your goal is to help the streamer like survive, then do bits or fucking PayPal. Do not do gift subs.
Right. So if you were not, actually, hold on. I've got two questions. I got to keep these in my brain. So if you were not doing Twitch content or doing content creation, what other things would you want to be doing in life? Like, if you, not one of those, like, not necessarily you have unlimited money and you can do whatever you want, but like if you were not doing this and you had leaned toward doing something else that you enjoyed, what would you find yourself wanting to do?
Psychology. I would want to be a doctor of psychology if I had a choice. I went to school for computer science, but in the end, I only did that because I was trying to find a high-paying career that I had an aptitude for, and I can code. Like, I know how to code, and I know the concepts of coding and logic and all that bullshit. I can do that stuff, but in the end, it would just be a job, and so psychology would be actually something that intrigued me and would be fun.
Would there be a school of thought that you would focus on? Would you like what would you want? And I'm kind of generalizing because I honestly don't know a lot of specifics, but like, would you want to focus on like criminal psychology or like child psychology or like social like counseling kind of thing? Like, did you have a field that you wanted to get into?
I think I just wanted to help people.
Yeah.
I just wanted to help people in general, so it doesn't really matter how that happened. It was just one of those things where I took like 6 psych classes in college, and I really had an aptitude for it. And I also it also engaged my brain to. It also engaged my brain in a way that other studies didn't, and so I just like thought if I was doing it, then I would be able to help people in their lives, and that's all what I want to do anyway. I do that with my people in real life. I do that with like my girlfriend. I like trying to make her life better every day. Like I do that with my family. I mean, Cedric would know. Cedric can tell you, like in our Rocket League group, we'd have friends that didn't have access to new controllers. I'd send them controllers. Like altruism is part of my genetic makeup, and so helping people would be what I would want to do with psychology. So counseling of some sort.
Yeah, it's very cool. I kind of leaned a little bit into psychology. I never really pursued much of it, but that was kind of on my list. Hey, I got anonymous 5 gifted subs. Thank you, Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous, for the 5 gifted subs. You sexy son of a bitch.
Oh, one of those went to Slopgator. Slopgator's watching.
He might be. Is he stalking you? You think?
Do you think he's stalking you?
I'm gonna let my loud annoying thing end right quick.
I can't hear your loud annoying things.
Let us go. It's almost done. So you enjoy music. Oh, they can't hear them. Oh, I've got it muted. Never mind. I have it muted anyway. It's fine. So you enjoy music. You play guitar, and I know you have a keyboard. I don't know what other instruments you play. Do you have, who would you say were your musical influences?
My dad.
Yeah. That would
do you
seem
mean
obvious.
like
I guess.
do you mean like when I was like writing music, or
right? Like whenever you were,
general?
like when you were getting into music, like was there, were there any artists that inspired you to, maybe like want to play their style or their creativity or their soul behind their music? Were there people that kind of made you think like I like this, I kind of want to do this because of this?
I don't think I gave it a lot of thought, because I started doing that when I was really young. I was playing guitar when I was like 9, and so I was like learn. The first song I learned was "More Than Words" by Extreme. Like it was a song my dad played all the time, and I just was like, I watched him play it, and it looked like it was difficult, and I wanted to learn the difficult song, so I learned how to play it. And then as I was one of those kids where like as I grew up, I like tried every fucking genre of music, and I tried every like style of clothing. Excuse me. Just like I was like a punk, and like I did the sag my pants thing when I was a kid, and listened to R&B, and I did like I'm a hardcore music person. I'm the metal guy. I did all that kind of shit. And so like during the time where I was playing folk music, I was listening to Simon Garfunkel in a huge way, and I love Simon Garfunkel, and I still do, and Dave Matthews and all kinds of other bands. And Dave Matthews came later because they weren't around when I was first playing acoustic. But then I played when I was playing punk, and I was playing hardcore music. I was doing a super psycho Christian thing where I was like kind of nuts and going into these youth groups with all these other punks with like big mohawks and stuff, and we formed bands and play together. And I was listening to like I listened to Misfits and Drop Dead Kennedys and Dropkick Murphys, rather. Drop Dead Kennedys.
Drop Dead Kennedys. That's like a fucking Kennedys. Merged band. Drop Dead Kennedys.
Yeah, it is. It's like
Reunited.
Dropkick Murphys did Candy Train. And Ramones and all that stuff. But I was also listening to like Christian bands like MXPX and Plank Eye and all these um, Supertones and all these ska bands and stuff. And then I went into hardcore, and I was mostly listening to straight edge hardcore, which was like all these bands that I don't even remember the name of and you never hear of. These are East Coast hardcore bands that were huge, and then East Coast hardcore or West Coast hardcore, and so all this West Coast hardcore stuff happened, and then the Biscuit got to be like mainstream, and they weren't really an influence of mine, but that's just stuff that was happening at that time. So I was just listening to all that shit, and whatever I was into was what was shaping what I was playing, and so that just evolved and changed all the time. There's no like major influence in my life, and then music's way too fucking broad for me as far as like I love everything and I listen to everything, and I'm not really into a lot of country or rap, so I shouldn't say everything, but I did hip hop like Grandmaster Flash back in the day, and I like that kind of stuff. But then when it turned into gangster rap, I didn't. So, and then country music's just a big pop show, and I'm not really into it.
Yeah. I did have one of my friends was on the other night, or last Friday, I think. No, Friday before, whatever. And he said, and I say this because we're talking about music, he said something very interesting that I hadn't really thought of, that music has not evolved, and like no music that has come out has been great since 1995.
Bullshit.
You don't agree with that?
No.
I got to thinking about it, and I was like, for me, a lot of the music of the, like, everything that was amazing, like, I really started thinking, I was like, was there anything that's just been so good? I mean, because, like, Tool was out before 95. Like, Tool falls into there. Tool's part of it. 9 Inch Nails is part of that. Guar, obviously, Guar is amazing. I started trying to think of, like, new bands that I just really fell in love with that have been recent, and I don't know that I really have any.
Well, so it's hard to say. Like, so Incubus dropped Science in 1997.
Okay. I would agree with Incubus. I would agree with that.
But their first album was Fungus Mungus, dropped in 95, but no one knew them, and they were teenagers. So it's like, do you count them as being in 95, or do you count them as being in 97? Because Science was a huge fucking thing, and Incubus shaped music for a fucking ton of fucking people to follow them.
Yeah.
Like, they're a huge influence for modern music right now. Like, it's a big thing. And then, so, I don't know, who else? Who else is newer that came later?
That was just the thing. It's like, I found it very difficult to try to think of newer bands that just really blew my mind.
Well, don't get me wrong. Like, I entirely agree that music is unimpressive lately. Like,
right.
Like, I'm not really into what's happening. There's no band that comes out and I'm like, wow. So like Greta Van Fleet. I like Greta Van Fleet. Whatever. They're still regurgitating Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
In their own way, which is fine. I don't know. Have you ever listened to Jacob Collier? He's not really a band. He's a person.
I think your brother played some of. Is that the guy that plays like 17 instruments all in his room, and he like cuts himself into like his videos of like him playing everything in the same room at the same time or something?
Yep, Justin introduced me to him as well, but definitely has the, he's definitely a friggin' virtuoso, like genius musician. So that's new stuff to listen to, and I've been consuming that I consumed it pretty hardcore when I first heard it, and it was definitely worth listening to. It's funk.
Yeah.
It's really good. So that's new. It's like brandy new, but it's also not new conceptually. Like conceptually not new. The kind of genres that he creates. So, I don't know what to do, man.
I thought it was
like music.
It was just interesting because I know you're into music. I find music shapes a lot of my personality and my notions about my idiosyncrasies and such. And when he said it, I was just kind of like, shit. I don't, when I think of like my favorite stuff, it's definitely not brand new. I thought it was a really weird perspective. But somebody had another question. Cedric had another great question, actually. I was reading this. How do you feel about the out of the blue DMCA strikes that happened earlier this year affected you and similar streamers with the fear of losing your channel and having to change the music that you listen to on stream? I'm assuming parentheses on stream.
I think that musicians are dumb. And that if they think that it's a bad idea for me to advertise their music with a ticker on the screen that sends people to their Spotify, which subsequently makes them more money, they're dumb.
Yeah.
They think that's a bad idea. They're stupid, and this should be a thing. I actually got together with some people and started to create. Like I started to come up with ideas and I grabbed a lawyer and I talked to him, and I grabbed a computer programmer and I talked to him, and I was like, man, I was seriously thinking about starting a business where I go out and I talk to bands and I'm like, I want to advertise your music in a way that's going to make you money. This is the way it's going to happen. You can expect to get this many fucking views. Like, do some statistics, get a mathematician to help me. I actually have one, which is funny. And then start a platform kind of like Pretzel.
Oh yeah.
But it's real music. Like, no, I say,
no offense to the hundreds of musicians.
No offense to all the musicians on Pretzel. What I mean is music that people know, like in mass. For in our career field, if you play music people know in mass, then they're more likely to connect with your channel, and that's good for your channel. And so it's why people want to play that music. And it's the music I listen to for myself too. So I'd rather listen to that music myself. But yeah, so as far as the DMCA strikes go, there's nothing that Twitch can do about it. It has nothing to do with them. People have to have the ability to have access to it and to be able to do these copyright strikes. They can't just like infringe on people's livelihood, and like they have to allow this. So it wasn't them that did it, but they've been warning us about its comeuppance for a couple of years now. So if we weren't prepared for it, it was our own faults.
Right.
And
yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I feel like it's been looming, and I think a lot of us kind of just did it waiting for them to say no. Like, sometimes it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission, I guess, as they say. That
it depends on how big because they have policies where if you get so many strikes, your channel will go down. Right. So it's one of those things.
I think that kind of brought it to the forefront of, like, it's now a serious thing. Because it used to just be like, it would, your VOD would mute out the music. Like, I would play music in my intro before I started, and it would just, like, yeah, just mute it out. And then everybody's like, oh shit, these people got their channel shut down because of music and this and that. And it's like, fuck. But, like, I'm with you, because it's like, your music is kind of an extension of you. Like, I have to be careful. I don't think that the music you listen to defines you as a person, but I think it can extend an idea of part of your personality. Like, this is what I'm into. Like, I listen to Guar, which would make sense because I'm weird and I like weird things, so I listen to Guar. Or I listen to Insane Clown Posse because they're also weird. And so I mean, I'm with you on that, like, how it can draw people to your channel, because it's like you hear things that you like. If a streamer is playing a song that you like, that you connect to in some way, even if it's some like subliminal, visceral way, that you're like, I enjoy this song, so maybe I might have something kind of in common with this person. Like, maybe we kind of have, some similar parts of our soul, like the same music, so therefore maybe I might have some kind of connection with this person. So I definitely feel I didn't use music as much. I feel like, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I know you would play a lot of music on Saturdays, especially, but I never really played a lot of music. But I definitely feel that we used the word earlier, it's kind of a suppression, that you don't really have that outlet of expression that you can use through music anymore. And I don't know that it's really affected me. Do you feel it's affected your channel in any way by not being able to have all that same kind of music?
It's hard to say. I know that I have had a lot of people say a lot of really great things about the music on my channel. A lot. Like, enough times where it's happened a ridiculous amount of times in my career. So, do I think that it's bad for that to be gone? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, I
interesting.
think that people come in, they're like, dude, I like this music, I like this guy, or like this is my place. Or
Right.
they like come in, they're like, this guy's okay, his music blows.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I don't know, like one way or the other, but like I said, it's it's what the music I connect to is what I play for sure. And I had 19 hours of it, and it was all over the place. And I think that that music was music that a lot of people knew. So it's easy to connect with people on that level when you know that 90% of the people that are in the channel will know what that song is,
Right.
rather than they. Right now I play Approaching Nirvana only,
Yeah.
which is it's all great EDM stuff, but I don't like in my everyday life I don't listen to EDM.
Right.
You know.
This is a random personal question because I had this thought talking about music. Would you find it to be a personal, intimate sharing moment to let someone look at your favorite playlist of like if you like in a real world example, this girl had like we were trying to find music or something and she handed me her phone and I'm flipping through her music, and to me that seemed like an intimate personal thing to be, like this is a person, it's kind of like bearing your soul. I don't know, how do you feel about something like that? Would that be a thing for you, like a sharing moment, or would that be more superficial?
I listen to too much shit, man. I mean, all you get from my playlist is that I'm just all over the place, or that like I'm a jack of all trades, or something like that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like here, let me get my playlist out. I'll tell you some shits. Do mega playlist. Let's do it. New mega. Incubus, Congos, Soundgarden, Tenacious D, AC/DC, Silverchair, Blind Melon, Foo Fighters, Stone Temple Pilots, Led Zeppelin, Huey Lewis and the News, Steppenwolf, Ween,
These are all
Van
good so far.
Morrison, CCR, Leonard Skinner, Steve Miller Band, Rage Against the Machine, POD, Pearl Jam, Perfect Circle, Gnarls Barkley, CeeLo Green, Outkast, Gorillaz, RX Bandits. Ever heard of them?
RX Bandits, I don't think.
No,
So
you should check them out, dude.
would you think, like, so if someone were to look at that, would you think that that could paint not an entirely accurate picture of you, but do you think a person could gain insight into you by looking at your favorites, your playlists? Like the massive songs that, when it's like when you've handpicked, like, I like this song, I like this song, this, would you feel that someone can gain insight into you as a person?
There's a lot said there in those lyrics that do not relate to me specifically. How depends on how psychologically savvy they are, or like what are we looking at? Are we looking at the melody of the music and how that what kind of emotion it evokes to how it relates to who I am, or are we looking at the lyrics themselves, like face value? Like I don't know how how you could perceive who I am based on any of this. I think that everyone's an enigma, and you could get a piece maybe, but it depends. And
Yeah,
my particular playlist makes it very difficult. Like
gotcha.
if you're trying to discern who I am through this playlist, it'll be very hard.
Yeah.
Bobby McFerrin, Violent Femmes. That's
you,
enough said.
uh, I'm going to throw this out there for the world. So, you mentioned Tenacious D. Are you familiar with Liam Lynch, that directed the Tenacious D movie?
I'm not.
He directed the Tenacious D movie. He also directs a lot of
Oh.
Weird Al videos. He does a lot of Tenacious D videos, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to do my damnedest to get him on my Twitch show.
Do you know him?
I know him indirectly.
Oh, well then you got this. I believe in you.
I've done a YouTube stream with him with other people before. Like, we've interacted, but that's you. No one's gonna ever watch this again. But yeah, I'm one of these days. That's my hope and dream. I'm gonna try. Somebody else asked something good here. Raven had a good question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how optimistic are you about the future of game evolution, and why? For example, RPGs seem to get more diverse and interesting, but shooters are very similar and seem to be stuck in a single mindset, in my opinion. I worry about the future of games. Like I'll briefly answer that. It seems like we're getting more and more beta, early release stuff that never pans out, and companies are failing to deliver on promises of what their games are going to do, and everything seems kind of stale. So that's kind of my opinion. But how do you feel about that?
I'm trying to find this question because I don't remember the last two sentences. Is this question in the chat?
Yeah, from
What's the name of the person?
Raven Bloodbane.
Oh, it's a Raven Bloodbane question. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna find it.
I know, sometimes it's easier to read questions to make it make sense in your head.
Where the fuck is it?
I can repaste it if you want.
Looks like Cedric already did it.
Oh, okay.
For example, RPGs seem to get more diverse. Hank said, and interesting, but shooters are very similar and seem to be stuck in a single mindset. How optimistic are you about the future of game evolution? I mean, so I think the biggest thing that we're going to be looking at the future of game evolution is input devices and how input devices are going to change and how it's going to shape games. That's the big thing right now. They're trying to spin virtual reality for like the fifth time in my life.
Right.
Like, this is the fifth time we've done virtual reality, but they're actually trying to develop synaptic sensors. Like, they're trying to do this whole thing where they can like tap into your brain. And that's once they figure that fucking shit out, like I can have a dream and that dream's a video game. This is all fucking sky's the limit, man.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what's going to happen then. As far as like gaming goes, it seems like we're trendy. Games are trendy now. It's a trendy thing. Right now, battle royales are trendy. So you're right. They get regurgitated. It's a lot of the same stuff. People are trying to put their own spin on it. Which one's the best? I don't know. I like fucking Superman games. Apex Legends is probably the best one that I've played so far. I love Apex Legends, but it's not the same as playing like Call of Duty. It's not really, they're different. And so they're different, but they're the same. And so if you're not really into that genre of games, they all seem the same to you. It's kind of the same kind of blanket thing. And people, they see something they don't really like or they're not really familiar with, and then they just kind of put the guys, just kind of spread the same label across all of it.
Right.
So it's hard to say, like, RPGs are going to be, I think that we're going to, as computer graphics continue to get better, you're going to see playthrough games be cooler and cooler, but also they're getting regurgitated as well. Like, playing Horizon Zero Dawn right now, which has a lot of like Tomb Raider and Assassin's Creed stuff, like all the climbing and jumping and assassination mechanics, and like everything's the same in all of them, really. And when you see it's the same as with music. Everything's been done. It's hard right now to find something truly unique.
Yeah. And I guess kind of on that note, do you have a genre that you enjoy more than others? Like, I don't want to use the word favorite, but do you have a type of game that you gravitate more toward? Like, would it be like FPS or RPG or survival, or do you have a narrow not favorite?
It's hard. So I have there's a couple different kinds of ways that I'm stimulated by gameplay. There's like the fun. I get to throw it in the garbage at the end of the gameplay, which is like, if that makes any sense. Like League of Legends, where you just play ARAM games, you just blow them out, and they don't take that long, and you don't have to be invested. You don't have to build a character. You don't have to like level it up. You just fucking play the game, and once the game's over, it's over, and you just like play it. That Rocket League. Right now, for me, that game's Dead by Daylight. My girlfriend's really into it, so I'm playing that game right now. And you can just play games, and you just play them, Or there's like playthrough games. Like, I love playthrough games, so any playthrough game, Assassin's Creed series, Tomb Raider series, we just talked about this, Horizon Zero Dawn series, the Horizon game, or whatever. Those kind of games are also fun, but they're different. Like, They take a lot longer to complete. It's like it's a commitment. It's different. I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about?
If you had a preferred genre of game that you like to play more than others?
No.
Not really, just all of them. Did you ever finish Witcher? By the way, I never finished Witcher 3. I made it to like level 30, and then I've just like given up. That game is way too long.
It is a super long game. And so that's before I became a YouTuber, I played MMORPGs. I was a guild leader, main tank. That's what I did. And so when I switched over to being a YouTuber, I had to leave that life behind because like Mr. Happy was like the only fucking RPG player that got any exposure, and it just wasn't a lot of exposure. He had like 30,000 subs at that time, and he was like the biggest fucking MMORPG guy ever.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I'm leaving that life behind. So that was like crack for me too. So once I learned to not to be an MMORPG player anymore, it was like, okay, well, I can stop this now. And so since then, I kind of just play everything, and I just want something different and new. Like I just want something new to play. Like give me something new, and I don't want it to take forever, like a Witcher 3.
Right.
I want to play it. I want to beat it in a week or two, and I want to move on. And I just want to just defeat content like constantly. That's what I want. So no, I don't really have a favorite of anything. I love puzzle games. Puzzle games are fucking fun. I love those playthrough games. I like those. I like to have some sort of game to fucking defeat like in 30 minutes and not have to worry about leveling up. That's the things that come to mind.
Well, and I'll try to. I know you probably want to go to bed. We'll wrap this up here in shortly.
I'm not rushing you, man. Yeah. You're in charge.
Do you find that you as a gamer, you as a person, not as a streamer, you as a gamer, do you find that being a content creator affects your want and desire to play games because it still somewhat feels like a job? Like, do you find that you don't have the personal time to play a game that you want to play and enjoy because you have to kind of enjoy it differently if you're going to stream it?
I don't want to play games in my free time.
because you play them for work.
So, I made my job when I switched over from playing Arc to playing whatever I want. I made my job playing games that I want to play.
Right.
And so I did do that for a long time where I played games I wanted to play at work. And then I also played other games that I wanted to play that were not successful at work after work.
Right.
But it became a situation where I basically was only ever playing video games and I was doing nothing else with my life.
Yeah.
And so this is funny because this is recent. Like this 2020 is the year that I stopped doing that. 2020, I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to, after I play the 8 hours of games that I like to play, that I already like to play, I want to do something else, like work on the yard.
Yeah.
It's as dumb as it sounds. Like I want to fix the roof. I want to go out and do stuff with my girlfriend. I want to go leave town, go on vacation. I want to my weekends off. I don't want to sit there and play video games. I want to go to Disney. I want to take my son to fucking the zoo. I want to do other things. Like so, it's not all constantly playing video games anymore. I did that where I played 8 hours for work and then I played 4 hours for myself, and it's 12 hours a day, and it's what the fuck am I doing with my life? I need to do something else.
I've kind of, and I mean, it's only been because you've been doing this for 4 years and plus YouTube before that. So like I've only been, and not even professionally, I would never call myself a professional, but playing games 4 hours a day for streaming, I find myself less and less inclined to play video games on the weekends. So I think I'm starting to feel that where it's like, but that, and I run out of things to play because it's like I play them on stream and then I'm like, I don't have anything else to really play for myself. But so the other question, the big question, not a big question, but the one question I do like to ask content creators: do you have advice if someone were to want to start streaming or start doing content creation of some sort? What advice would you give them besides don't expect to be rich? What other advice do you have?
I want to know. There's a ton of you in the chat right now that fucking know me. A ton of you know me. What is my answer to this question? Sorry, Flitz. I've answered this question like 45 times.
Right.
And I'm going to answer it for you too. And I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just curious
to see if they know.
Anybody does know the answer to this question, because I have told them many times already. The question, Cedric, was, what is my advice for up and coming content creators? I bet Cedric has heard it at least 10 times. Nobody speaking up. It's not super long, so if it doesn't come out in just a second, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy stuff. Let's see. Well, let's see. I don't want to say it, man. I don't want to spill the beans. If someone knows, I don't want the beans to be spilled.
Yeah, we want to see it. Like, come on. Mazion's chat, spit it out.
He got one of them. Stream on a schedule.
Consistency.
Set a schedule and stick to it. It's fun. Well, see, Slip's answer and my answer are very fucking similar. They're very. I don't even know what Slip's answer is, but I know that me and him have talked about this before, and like we have the same kind of fucking ideas. So, stream on a schedule. He's definitely heard it. He's heard the rant. Stream on a schedule is one. Make videos, because making videos, when you make videos, you're going to learn how to make videos better. You're going to learn how to edit videos better, because you have to edit every single video. You're going to learn how to talk to yourself better, because that's what every fucking content creator has to do when there's nobody else around to talk to themselves. So you learn how to do that better. And then don't get discouraged when you're not successful. You have to keep going. The people that succeed are the people that never give up. If you are not tenacious in this industry, you cannot make it, period, in the end. So the people that succeed are the people that never gave up. The people that do not make it gave up. That's it.
Yeah.
It's defining the difference between those two fucking categories of people. So that's the thing. Keep a schedule, make fucking videos, make videos. Don't give up or get discouraged because you have a lack of viewership. Make videos. Like, those are the core concepts of how to get going.
Yeah. Be consistent and keep doing it. Don't do it for the money. Do it because you enjoy it. Maybe. Be entertaining. I would think. I mean, there are some people, I guess, there are some videos. Some people are not that entertaining, but I still like to watch their videos.
Oh, dude, we know people. I'm not going to mention anybody's names, but there are people in this business that have like 2 million subscribers that are fucking boring as fuck.
Right.
They're just like, blah, 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 blah. Today we're going to make a thing. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that sucked.
Yeah. And you're like, how is this a thing? How? What? Yeah. Like I said, I don't pretend to lump myself into any category that I don't fit in by any means. And but I do see those that it's like, how it's I never approach it as like, how are they doing this and I'm not doing it. It's more like, that's kind of insane. Like, this person has that much of a, whatever, and like how do they do that? Like, that's so, like, who likes this? But obviously there are people that do. I guess that's one of those, there are people that like everything. I don't know. Talk about what you're doing in stream of consciousness. Read books on comedy. That's about it. That's what Mazion said in my chat. I don't know why I repeated it, because everybody could read it in my chat.
Well, it's good. No, it makes a difference when you hear it.
I said it. Now it's real.
I just didn't know if we were you were approaching it. I don't know, man. I'm letting you choose the direction. I was just trying to be helpful.
Yeah, that was kind of the last big question I really had. What else have we talked about? We talked about where your name came from. We talked about your upbringings. We talked about your video game types that you like. Somebody did ask, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you see yourself? I'm adding an addendum. I'm guessing maybe, do you see yourself doing content creation in 5 years? Do you see this life being something different in 5 years?
I'm trying to find a way to. Okay, so right now this I don't know if it's the state of Twitch or the state of my channel in general, but things are fucking tough.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. Like, I'm gonna try to rent my house out. Basically,
Right.
is what where we're at right now. I moved in with my lady. I'm gonna try to rent my house out so it gets paid for until a couple of years from now, when hopefully things kind of bounce back and I can like go back. So,
Right.
where I'm gonna be at 5 years, I don't know. We're trying to look at strategies on continuing to make this career viable. I want it to be my career. I want it to continue to do more in the entertainment industry and video game industry. But I do not know what's happening right now. Things are fucking crazy, and I'm scared as fuck. So
Right.
that is my true, honest, and real answer for you.
Twitch has seemed weird. And again, I don't presume that we're in the same era, What anyway? It's definitely seemed weird though. Like I've noticed on a lot of people that I watch, a lot of their viewership seems a little different, and everything seems to be strange. Like I've noticed that trend of like it seems that things have kind of dribbled off a little bit, not entirely, but like just enough to where it probably affects you guys. And so I would say I don't think that's just you that's noticing that. It does seem to be. I've seen that as a viewer. I've kind of noticed that just observing other channels and stuff. It seems like it's a weird time in the world, and I don't know anything to attribute it to. I don't know any reason why, but it does seem that the internet sphere is a little off kilter lately.
Yeah, I don't know. This is like the second time that things have gotten off kilter, and it's really just destroyed my channel. This first time was YouTube, and now we're having the same problem on Twitch. And I'm like, fuck, man,
Yeah.
what can I do? So we'll see.
Do you think? I'm older than you. Do you think we can do this when we're 60?
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like why not?
I feel like we'll do it in a different capacity. Like I'm already doing it in an old man capacity. You know what I mean? I'm not fucking ninja. I'm not out there like winning tournaments and fucking beating the shit out of every other person at a game that I'm the best at. I'm on here just running my mouth and trying to deliver fun, quality entertainment to people and showing off some games that they might want to buy because I just buy it and write it off of my taxes.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'd like to do more, and I'd like to do what Co-Carnage does. I'd like to know things ahead of time and bring you that information that nobody else knows. But that's not my life yet.
Right. Let's see. Oh, Raven had some words of advice. This industry's a bitch and should rip your dick off. Famous and broke, ending to a joke, but I've come way too far and I ain't giving up hope. That's words from the streets, I feel like. That's
Who the fuck did you see that?
Raven Bloodbane said that. Syndra's bringing the hard questions. How much importance is there for each of you on viewer chat? Does it make it more or less fun if viewers are chatting a lot with you and one another? Personally, I enjoy chat interaction. I like to interact with chat, and I also enjoy. I think I enjoy interacting with chat, but honestly, I think I like it better when I see chat interacting with each other, because I can always talk to chat, but I tend to enjoy it more when I see people communicating with each other, because it feels like it's building more of a community. I don't know.
My turn?
Yeah, your turn. I'm keeping my answers brief. This is about you. This isn't about me.
No, it's about both of us. It's fine. We're both faces on the screen. Yeah, no, what Flitzanu said is always first and foremost. It's always been the first foremost for our channel. You guys know that. And then, what was the question? My brain is fucking broke as a joke right now, dude. Chat interaction.
How much importance is there for viewer chat? Does it make it more or less fun?
I had already formulated a whole answer for this, and then I just forgot it when I was telling you half of it.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I have old brain too.
Yeah. So the other thing about it is, for me and my channel, if you guys, I work my comedic things work off of other people. I can be fun and have funny things to say, but it usually works better if you said something first, because I can just fucking make fun of whatever you said. or I can build or tangent off of what you said. I work better when I have someone that's talking to me in my headset more than anything. So when I work with somebody else, I usually have a lot more to say, and I have a lot of more bubbly comedy going on. But yeah, chat viewer interaction definitely gives me more ammunition for using my mouth hole these days. For some reason, I've dropped off a little bit on my old YouTube talk to myself fucking skills are rusty. I don't know why, but lately it's been kind of rugged just to talk to myself when that's the thing. I haven't really had to do that. So the channel's on the decline. We've had less and less people, less chat interaction, and it's totally making me like, what the fuck's my brain's just freaking out.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that, because it is from a streamer perspective, I find it's much easier to continue talking and to find entertaining, funny things to say when people are communicating. Because it gives you, like Maz was saying, it gives you ammunition to kind of bounce off of, or it gives you comments to bounce off of, and you're engaging with comments that are being said, that you can make jokes about comments that are being said, and I think it makes it feel a little bit more personal, instead of like just trying to say things that are funny that are missing. When you're like trying to be independently funny is sometimes harder than being funny interacting with another person. Is that about
what
right?
He said.
Yeah, I definitely do better with doing co-op stuff and having somebody else to talk to and make jokes at their expense, rather than just try to come up with funny things.
Yeah, that's why I got a girlfriend. It's working out.
Help make funny things.
No, it's been really good. This particular lady's amazing, and so I've just been able to like make fun of her constantly. She loves it. She's the one, man, for sure.
So do you want to talk about that? Do you want to dive into personal Maz life and talk about how that started? We don't have to. I mean,
I don't care. I mean, we can if you want. We just met on Facebook dating.
Nice.
On Facebook dating, we talked a little bit on the internet, and then we met and fucking hit it off, man. Just a lot of the same kind of humor and mannerisms and stuff, and she's a really smart lady, dedicated lady, and I just really enjoy her company. And so far, it's been kind of like unexpected friggin' gem, I guess, like a diamond kind of deal. Like, what the hell happened here? It's weird,
especially for 2020, because 2020 has been kind of a shitty year just in general. So it's nice to see positivity happen in 2020 of any sort.
No, it's definitely been good. I'm happy with my personal life right now, and I haven't been happy with my personal life for a very, very long time. So
yeah,
it's good. It's good stuff.
Are there any games that you're looking forward to that are coming out? Like, do you have your eyeballs on any upcoming titles?
Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Cyberpunk 2077. There are 2 other games coming out. I think Godfall is coming out soon. What is the other one? This one like back to back with Assassin's Creed. What is it? This one, it's like 7 days after it, or like a week or something. I don't fucking remember, man. I don't remember. There's 3 games coming up like right away, man. I can't keep everything in track, and honestly, it's getting late, so like my recall is getting worse. Fuck, what is it?
Scarlet Nexus? Is that a thing? Raven said?
No.
I don't know what that is. COD?
No.
Says Cedric.
I'm not playing COD, no.
Have you looked at you don't have to think about it. Can you have you looked at Atomic Heart?
No.
Atomic Heart. Put that on your list. There's no ETA, but it looks like it's going to be amazing. I've been watching
Atomic
this game for a while.
on Steam. Is this what you're talking about? By Mundfish?
Yeah, I think so. It's like a weird, like Fallout, cyberpunky, Half-Life-ish, kind of like wackadoodle it's weird. It looks really weird and it looks really good. It's like in Russia. So everything speaks Russian, and it's scary because Russian sounds like a scary language when it's spoken. I don't know. Yeah, look up Atomic Heart. There's some videos on
I'm
it.
looking at it right now, actually. I mean, the gameplay at face value kind of looks like it's kind of like a Doom-esque kind of game.
Yeah, it's like an FPS. It doesn't quite look like FPS. It looks more like Fallout style FPS, where it's not quite like hairpin trigger stuff or like quick aim stuff. It's a little more adventure-y, slow pace kind of FPS. But it's very busy. It's like weird robots and shit. BioShock. It's like BioShock, Fallout, Half-Life, like kind of rolled into one thing.
Graphics look pretty good. Looks like it's well thought out. Looks like they're not messing around with the character models. Looks like they're doing a good job with that. I don't know. It looks pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
It looks like something I could get into for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those weird ones I just happened to see one day that is like, I need to keep this on my radar. That there's no definitive time on when it's coming out, but definitely one to keep in the back of the mind, I think. But so we're at all right. So I'm at 12:50. So do you have anything that you want to add? We'll wrap this up. And do you have anything that you, as a person, want to share? Like anything you want to unburden from your life? Anything, any hate or bad things that you want to vent about? This is our time to have a heart to heart. If you want to be like, you know what, I hate turkeys, or
You know what really grinds my gears?
yeah, you know what grinds my gears. Release that. Anything you want to get off your chest about as a person, as a streamer, as an individual, as a human being. And you don't,
just say whatever I want. This is crazy.
Like, yeah, like you don't have to. You can be a person. You don't have to be Maz. You can just speak from the heart as a person. This is the unbuckling part of the end of the show.
No, I mean, I'm just gonna complain about the same crap everybody else is. Fucking, I think it sucks that we may live in an age where soon we'll have to wear a mask everywhere we go for the rest of our fucking lives because we're worried about coughing on someone and killing them.
Right.
Kind of dumb. That's about it right now, man. I miss the days where I could just go out and get sloppy like fucking kisses at everybody. I just want to kiss all of you.
I mean, for me, it's a weird feeling, like, because I went to Amsterdam in February, which seems like eons ago. It doesn't even seem like it was this year. And now it's like we can't leave the country.
Yeah.
Like, it's difficult to just travel inside the United States even, but even more so, it's like, 'cause when we were in Amsterdam, we're like, we need to do this like every year. We need to go on a big trip like every year, go out of the country, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, cool. And then we get back and it's like everything is shutting down. The world is closed off and no one can leave. And like that really bums me out. Like, I think that's the one thing that gets me about this whole year is like, I can't make plans to do anything. Like, I can't see friends out of state without being at risk. Like, I can't go to fucking Europe again until who knows when, because, it started off as like, oh, it's just March. It'll be like maybe July. Things will be cool. And then it's like, in July, I'm like, man, we'll probably give it another month or so. And it's like, it's fucking October. This isn't going away. This is going to be this way for a long time. I don't think this is going to be something that ends anytime soon.
No, and I think to have my son this year, which is a big problem, but.
Oh yeah, because he's in Canada. Yeah, see, my friend, which I thought it's not even like a statistical thing. It was just interesting that my tattoo artist also has a half Canadian son that lives in Canada. And so I'm like, wow, I know two people with half Canadian kids. That's interesting. But yeah, because he was like, he can't fly in and out of the country because like you have to quarantine. Like once you leave, like if you flew out of the country, you'd have to quarantine for 14 days. And then if you go back, you have to quarantine for 14 days. And like, it seems like a whole big mess. But
well, the border's shut. You can't even go over the border unless you have a reason, like a good reason.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, he could quarantine for 14 days. That would be fine. He's here for the whole summer usually. So
yeah,
if he had quarantined for 2 weeks at my house, like no big deal. But unfortunately, the border is closed for travel unless you have like a pertinent reason to go, like someone's dying and you have to go see them or something like that.
Wow.
It wasn't like I wasn't like, and plus he would have had to come by air, and so now you're talking passport, which he didn't have because we haven't never had to worry about that before. It's something that's new since we moved to Florida. So yeah, we're trying to get all that ironed out now, but unfortunately he wasn't able to be here for the summer this year, and I'm not even sure if he'll be able to. She's usually here for 2 weeks in March, and then I get them every holiday and all summer and 2 weeks at Christmas, and so this year it'll be none.
That sucks. Yeah, I didn't. So is the passport thing? Is that a new thing? Like
traveling by air, no, but.
Or
so
was
sometimes
was it usually by car? I guess, you were right near Canada, I guess. So
yeah, it was by car for most of his life.
That's
He
right.
Lived in Maine, so we just drove up there and got him.
So yeah, okay. So you didn't have to have a passport to drive in and out. Just really more for flying.
They were going to change the law so that you did have to do that, but then they decided not to, and then they did the WITI card, the Western Hemisphere Travel Initiative card, and then didn't have to do that either. So as children, they just couldn't use just their birth certificate.
Gotcha. Yeah, that sucks. I kind of forgot about that. That's kind of a fuck 2020. Fucking bullshit. That sucks.
Yeah, sorry, Raven. That's not gonna work for me, man.
Oh, parks and stuff you can access from either side without crossing the border. I just want all your poutine. I just want to go to Canada and get all the poutine.
I hate poutine.
I guess, well, yeah, because you were baby Canada, so I guess you get to have poutine. That's one of those treasures that I don't get in Oklahoma. I don't get poutine.
I didn't try it till I was an adult, and I just was like, I don't like gravy, so I don't like poutine.
I can't believe you don't like gravy. I thought we were friends. Jesus.
I'm sorry, man. I mean, maybe if you put some like jalapenos in that gravy or something, spice it up, make it taste a little different. Maybe put in some fucking paprika. I'm not sure. There's something about gravy I just don't like, and it's just like this one thing that's in it and just tastes gross, and I just don't want it.
Right. I kind of forgot the last question that I need. The most important question is, do you like horror movies? Like, what's your go-to genre for watching? I know you said you generally don't spend a lot of, you're doing a lot of other things in life now, but if you have a go-to, what's your go-to for movies?
So I get into like in any genre, I get into fantasy and sci-fi more than anything else. But now that I'm so my girl's a fucking huge horror lady.
I was gonna say I got that impression.
Yeah, she's like super into horror, so like she knows all the horror, like serial killers and all the horror movies, and she knows like all the serial killers as well.
Yeah.
On top of that, so it's something that I'm going to be getting into. I actually just watched the new Stephen King's It, Chapter 1 and 2 for the first time.
Oh, okay.
Like 2 weeks ago. And so the thing about horror and me growing up is that I didn't get into it very much because there was always a lack of good like storytelling.
Right.
It was more just like gore and like killing, and it just didn't really do a great job with like putting horror books onto screen.
Right.
And so I just never really got into it. Now I learned now that like most horror fans love cheesy B horror movies, like B grade horror movies. Like that's what people like about horror. And that's just growing up, I was more like, what's the next greatest actor doing? You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that is part of my inherent flaw, I guess, my flawed way of looking at horror. And so now I'm like kind of learning about it. But the movie It, from all the horror that I saw growing up, like it had a story. I connected with the characters. It seemed decently written. I liked it. I liked all the things, all of the weird, like it was like a sci-fi movie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah. I've never read the book. Like my mother reads Stephen King books, and she's always told me that the book is so good, but I can't read a 2,000-page book. But yeah, it's definitely got a lot of sci-fi influence, I think. More, I mean, it's compared to a lot of horror movies, like when you look at things like Alien, people consider Alien and Aliens to be horror, but it is kind of sci-fi. Like I like those movies that kind of cross over, that it's a little bit of both, because I'm pretty partial to horror and sci-fi as well, and fantasy stuff, but I would lean more toward horror. Now, have you seen the original It, or just the new one?
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I saw the original movie It. I don't really remember a lot about it. I remember there, for some reason, I remember like a lot of hair.
Right. It was the 80s.
There's something about
it's probably a lot of hair, because it was the 80s, I think. Early 90s, maybe. I don't remember.
No, I mean, was there like a scene where like it like transformed himself into some hair creature?
I think maybe there was like in a drain. I think the girl was pulling hair out of a drain, maybe kind of like the same thing in the new one, where like the drain was clogged and it was like pulling a bunch of weird shit. I think in the new one her hair got caught in the drain, but maybe that's kind of what you're thinking of. It seems like there was like a thing with hair in the drain.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a long time, man. Yeah. I saw it like on TV when I was like 7. If I can remember, man.
It's Tim Curry, man. Tim Curry, beautiful, talented man.
Does he also taste delicious and spicy?
Tastes delicious and spicy. He also played the big red devil in the movie Legend. Do you remember the movie Legend?
I'm going to look it up right now and tell you if
Possibly.
I do.
See, that's the thing too, is like 6 years isn't a lot of time, but 6 years is enough time to be at an age where you would miss some of those movies. Like when I would have been at the age to watch them, like you being 6 years off from that would be a little like you'd be at that cusp.
1985 Legend?
Yeah, Tom Cruise is in it.
Tom Cruise was in a movie in 1985 when I was 3?
He was in a movie besides Top Gun.
Do you mean Legend of the Fall?
No.
I'm pretty sure Tom Cruise was in that one.
just called Legend, and it's a fairy tale about unicorns and demons and Tom Cruise.
Isn't that Legend of the Fall? No, I did see that movie actually. So this is why I had to look it up, man. I did see this Tom Cruise movie, Legend.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the big red, that's one of those little known things I feel like that people, I never picked up on it until a long time later, that Tim Curry played him. You know, Tim fucking Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror Picture Show played the Red Devil in Legend, and then played fucking Pennywise the Clown. Amazing. That was all I had.
Who? What?
Tim
Pennywise
Curry.
the Clown?
Have you seen
Tim Curry? He was in that?
Have you seen Rocky Horror Picture Show?
I'm looking at his face right now. Hold on. Oh, that guy. I know that guy.
Yeah. Tim
I've
Curry.
seen him in like everything he's ever done his whole life.
He was in Clue. He was the butler in Clue. Tim Curry.
He's been a lot of shit, man.
He was the original Pennywise, but it was like one of those weird roles. He was the devil in Legend. Oh, he's in the Muppet Pirate movie as well. Yeah. He was bad. He was in Congo, about the gorillas, the weird man-eating gorillas. He was in that movie. I don't know. We're just going to talk about Tim Curry and how beautiful he is. Yeah, no, I think we can end it there talking about Tim Curry. I was going to say, though, we need to find out if your girlfriend likes H.P. Lovecraft.
You mean like Cthulhu?
Yeah, like the author H.P. Lovecraft. If she likes him,
we've got little Cthulhus in the house.
All right, you can keep her. I know my opinion is really the most important here. That if she likes Cthulhu and Lovecraft, then you're good. Because if not,
we're good, man.
If not, we're gonna have to have a conversation.
No, we were watching this. She was watching this new Lovecraft series on Netflix, right?
HBO, Lovecraft Country. Is that the one you're talking about?
Something like that. No, right, not on Netflix. She's watching it through Amazon Prime on using the HBO whatever add-on you can fucking buy.
Yeah,
she's watching that shit because of it's a Lovecraft thing. But it ends up being kind of weird and not really super Lovecraftian, but sort of Lovecraftian.
It's like, yeah, I'm with that. It started off very Lovecraftian and now it's kind of gotten a little bit weird. Like not in a great way. I'm not sure which direction it's going to go, but
I've watched some of it. I've watched some of it with her. Yeah, no, she's definitely. Yeah, no, she's
all right. Good. All right, she can.
I told you she was a good lady. I don't know why you're not listening to me.
She's allowed to stay.
I like said it on an interview in front of people like this. I didn't tell you to shut the fuck up. I don't want to talk about my personal life, so it's a big deal.
You can be like, no, she doesn't like Lovecraft, and then you're like, cut the stream. That's a defining moment for it's like, yeah, I like horror. I'm like, do you like Lovecraft? And they're like, who? And you're like, fuck off. You're not a horror fan. We're gonna have words. Not really.
Oh well.
Not really.
Well, I'll send her to your stream, Flitz, so that you can have words.
We'll at her relentlessly because apparently she loves that.
You even know.
I've heard that.
That's awesome.
You don't see me chat a lot. I lurk your streams a lot. I don't always chat because I'm usually like if I'm doing something or working or whatever. There are times I lurk and I tend not to say things that way. I don't want to distract anybody. But
you should say things so that I can say things back. We've been over this.
That's how it works. I say things and you say things. Shit. I always forget that second part.
About this a few minutes ago.
I forget that second part.
Oh yeah. No, we were talking about it a few minutes ago. Like
chat interaction.
Interact about.
That's true. Well, sometimes like if it's during the day though, like that's the thing is during the day because I'm working and so like I try not to get distracted by doing other things instead of working. So sometimes
probably a good idea.
Yeah, I put some stuff on in the background and help viewership and keep the streams up, that kind of thing. I try to bounce around and show and help people out with that. But I think we asked all the important questions, and as soon as we come up with better ones, then we'll have to come back and do this again. And also podcasts. We'll have to talk about podcasts in the future because we talked about that drunkenly one night.
I thought that's what this was. I thought you started without me.
No, this is totally not the same thing. Let's talk about that. So we had a conversation about starting a podcast, which I still think is a
really
grand idea.
Fucking drunk, but
yeah, you're hammered, and that it was a good idea because we. Did you hear that one? The wishes weren't so fucking awkward. Can you hear that thing? That sound clip?
No.
You didn't hear it?
I can't hear your stream. No, I'm talking to you, so I have your stream.
Oh
muted.
yeah. You don't. Yeah. You won't hear it through my stream. Never mind. So we were talking about doing a podcast because like podcasts would be a good idea because we have opinions, we are smart about things, and we know things to talk about, and we have interesting opinions regardless of what other people think. That our opinions are great, and that we're going to do a podcast thing. And so that was a separate concept than this, because this was we were hanging out on stream one night, and we kind of got to chatting after a game or something, and it was like, you know what, I don't know, I think somebody kind of triggered it in my brain that they didn't have anybody to talk to. Like with the whole 2020 thing going on, a lot of people have kind of been socially isolated. And so it just kind of triggered in my brain. I was like, you know what? Maybe we should just like hang out. Kind of like you do social Saturdays to hang out with your community. I was like, maybe we'll just have like a chat night just to talk, because sometimes people just want to talk. And so I started doing that. And then, some friends and stuff had popped in chat one time. And I was like, you know what? Maybe we should just like bring on a guest. Like maybe get somebody to come on and we'll just have a conversation. And so we kind of started that, and then it just kind of people responded to it, and they were like, "That's really cool. I think that's a good idea. Like, let's get content creators, or other people that I like." It kind of started with content creators, but then I'm thinking like, who else can I bring on? And so it's kind of just been, let's get interesting people on and just have a chat, like not even a real agenda, but just have a chit chat and and kind of show the world that people can still have just a conversation with mostly a stranger. Like we're not entirely strangers, but like I had Zuljan on, I had John Bay. Do what?
I've touched you.
That's true. We've touched in real life, so we're not entirely strangers. But like I had Zuljan and like John Bain. I'm like, I've never met them. I've barely interacted with them in chat and stuff, but it's like we can have a 2-hour conversation with a complete stranger and find your way into, like common ground. And I don't know, it's one of those things I kind of feel like it's kind of missing in the world. That's kind of my altruism, is that I feel like like having conversations is kind of missing, and so that's kind of when I started with the Friday thing. This was entirely separate from our podcast idea, so I didn't want those to get confused. So the podcast idea still separate idea from this. So I don't want you.
Yeah, no, got you. No, I'm still down, man. And obviously, honestly, like it would be good to do a voices thing. Did you want to do a podcast that was like video related as well, or did you want to just do like our voices on the radio?
It was one of those like either we do it live, and we could do it through video and then release it as audio, or we just do audio. It was one of those either or. I wasn't really particular about that. It may not work as well doing it live. Like it probably would be better to do it just audio. But
we can do it live. I think this kind of thinking, if we did this kind of show, we would do a non-chat interactive live show.
Right.
So the chat talks to each other. We don't talk to the chat. We do our show.
Right.
And then it can still be a podcast. But
yeah,
it really
and that way they could feel like, you know, because having being able to view it live, I think, is also that's also, I think, a concept that people like, you know, that they can experience what's happening live at the moment that it's happening, and then they can also go back and enjoy it later at a different time. But yeah, so I would say either way, like, because it's all going to record audio, whether we have our face on there or not. So
and the show can also be used over multiple outlets that way. So if you do it on Twitch, then you have it live. That's actually going to be able to be saved and used for YouTube and used for anywhere else that you want to ever put it.
Yeah.
And put it on Facebook, you put it wherever.
Yeah. And we could strip out the audio and send it to whatever podcast things. Have to learn how to do that, though. Have to learn how to do podcasting. I don't know. I don't know anything.
Well, I got you. I got you, man.
Debasaurus says we need a list of 100 topics. If we have
100 topics,
if we can find 100 topics that we want to talk about, then okay, I see what you're saying. So yeah, we need a list of 100 topics. If we can't find 100 topics, that way we don't feel like we're struggling to find topics to talk about. If we can come up with it seems like if we have a large list of topics, like if we want to talk about UFOs, or we want to talk about Bigfoot, or we want to talk about dolphins and their blowholes, and we want to talk about...
Oh, dude, I want to talk about dolphin blowholes so bad. Can we please talk about that first? Can that be the first thing we do?
Dolphin blowholes. First thing, blowholes.
It's just another sphincter.
It's a head sphincter.
That's right. Fucking head sphincter is fucking epic, man. But I don't think it can articulate as well as your mouth sphincter.
That's true. If a dolphin could talk out of its blowhole, do you think we would kill them as much?
They do talk about out of their blowhole. Where do you think that noise comes from?
It comes from their... I thought it comes from their mouth.
I think they do both.
Like, I can't do dolphin. My voice isn't octave.
I can't do that. I can't do it either.
It's not that
I don't. If you hit yourself in the back of the head, you might be able to do it. I'm not really good at head sphincter. Yes.
I can't hit that note. Yeah. I mean, do you think we would kill them as much? Also, I feel like dolphins. This is about dolphins now.
Wait, when do we kill dolphins?
To catch tuna.
What? Oh, you mean accidentally?
Well, whatever.
Do you think you're saying that would we accidentally kill dolphins?
Would we be more concerned?
Would we curb our accidental killing of them?
Would we be more concerned about it? Kind of like how we lose our mind if somebody kills a dog. We don't lose our mind if somebody hits a possum. They're fucking dead
I don't think
everywhere.
we would, because people get hit by cars all the time, and we're not taking the cars off the road. So I don't think that we would stop hunting tuna just because we killed a few dolphins, because the humans are dumb.
That's true. I don't like, this is not a political stance, but I don't like tuna. I don't like tuna fish. I don't like a lot of seafood. I like some seafood, but not a large majority of seafood. But I've never been a fan of tuna. But I would have to imagine that dolphins must be delicious, because people still eat tuna all the time.
But tunas aren't, if dolphins are smart, they would make their own meat not delicious through like the power of their mind bullets. In which case, tuna are really dumb, and that's why it tastes really good.
Yeah, I mean, if dolphins were as smart as we think they are, they would not let us eat them.
But we don't.
Seems logical.
Have you eaten a dolphin before?
Dolphin is in tuna. Like they catch dolphins and then they ground them up with tuna fish and put them in tuna. That's why they have like dolphin
tuna. I just eat it on fucking rice in Japan.
Yeah, it's probably got tons of Dude, Japanese love to kill dolphins. I'm just kidding. Japan. I'm just kidding.
I ate whale. I admit it.
They do love to kill whales. They're known for whaling.
Now, would you guys watch this podcast? Because this is basically what we're talking about doing.
This is a demo reel right now.
You just saw what the show would be like.
Dolphins must be delicious is just like a perfect premise for a joke. It's true. It's true. Because they have to be. They have to be delicious. Because they're in tuna. They get ground up with tuna. We know they do. They're lying if they say they don't, because they catch them. It's not like they're like, fuck, we got a dolphin in here. Like, just put it in. It's fine. Nobody cares. That's why they make dolphin-safe tuna. And you can buy it specifically dolphin-safe tuna versus non-dolphin-safe tuna, which means may contain small amounts of dolphin. And people eat it, and it has to be delicious. So I feel like dolphins probably delicious.
I don't eat that canned shit, man. I don't know why you eat that. Why
I don't
just
eat
go
it.
to Japan and have some fucking nigiri, and then it's only tuna.
But I don't like tuna anyway. That's why. So I don't know what dolphin tastes like because I don't like to eat tuna.
I ate whale.
Was it delicious?
It tasted like tuna.
Ugh. See, it's on that scale of too fishy.
It's not fishy if you eat it in sushi.
I guess that's probably true. I've never tried that.
Tuna sushi?
No, I've never tried. So number one, I've never had sushi. Number two, I've never had sashimi.
Sashimi.
Like, yeah. I've never had like shitty, sushi rolls, like the shit that people buy. Like, oh, I love sushi, and it like doesn't have any fish in it or whatever. Like, I've never had any of that. But
no,
yeah. It's not. I mean, it's not that I don't want to. It's not on my list. So one of those like, if I happen to be in the place at the time, then I would probably try it. But I've never sought it out. But yeah, the raw fish thing, I don't know. I could probably stomach raw fish more so than I could stomach like raw beef, because I know people eat like raw beef and shit in Japan. I think.
You know that? No.
Don't they? Don't they like slivers of like raw meat or something?
You're talking about no. Well, no one there did. While I was there, they didn't serve it to me. No one wanted to feed it to me. I didn't see it on any menus. But I think you're talking about Wagyu, which is like the best beef that you can eat.
Oh, that could be it. Yeah.
They cook it, and then you eat it. Yeah.
I was thinking they ate like slices of thin raw beef. Thought that was the thing.
So that's Korean barbecue, and they serve you slices of thin raw beef, and then you put it on a grill yourself and eat it. Or you can, there's so many ways that this could be misconstrued. I have no idea. Maybe they do. I didn't see it anywhere.
Beef tartare, Cinder says. Yeah,
beef tartare. Oh yeah, I've had that.
Isn't that like thinly sliced raw red meat?
Yeah, you're right. It's delicious.
I thought that was the thing.
This is what memory problems do to you. I'm going to have Alzheimer's very soon. So we need to get this fucking thing on the show on the road. Also, if I had $1 million, you know that song Bare Naked Ladies? If I had $1 million, I would move to Japan and buy a whole bunch of Japanese people to make me fucking sushi all the time. That's how good it is, Flitzanu. You need to have sushi.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about traveling. That's on my list. Like, talking to my travel pals. We're talking about Iceland or Japan. Japan seems like now, and I'm going to keep you another minute. Was it difficult not being fluent in Japanese? Was it difficult for you?
Yeah, I had John, buddy. Sorry.
Because that
my
seems like
best
that would be
friend
tough.
lives there, so
yeah,
he was fluent in Japanese, so I just would go around with him, and he would be like, we go up to stores, and they would be like, no, we're closed, and then he would be like, you're closed in Japanese, and they'd be like, oh, come in.
Because they're like fucking white people, and he's like, no, I speak the language, and they're like, all right, you're cool.
Pretty much, 100% happened.
Yeah.
One time. Though.
I'm gonna have to learn Japanese. God damn it. It's gonna take a lot of time, man. I'm gonna need to a lot of time to learn Japanese before I go. Yeah, it seems like it would be really difficult. Like, because going to European countries, even in Amsterdam, they generally spoke English. There were some places that were kind of, they weren't pissy about it, but they were kind of like, here's the English menu. But, yeah, Japan, entirely foreignly different, that it seems terrifying to not know any Japanese to go visit. And I feel like I would not expect them to be gracious about it. That's one of those things too. As an American, we often are very self-entitled of like, you don't speak English? Like, I would never think that going to another place of like, I don't speak your language. I'm the shithead, not you. But I feel like most things there are probably not in English. Like in most European countries and stuff, that it's very fluid that they speak like 7 languages and everybody speaks English. But a lot of other places further that are not Europe don't give a shit about learning American or learning English.
I'm trying to remember. So Tokyo's a melting pot, dude. Like, there's everything there, and there's still a lot of English speakers there, both Japanese and non-Japanese. I mean, because when you get like a whole bunch of people in one space, the way that the world's going is that everyone learns English so that they can. That's the language that everybody fucking speaks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So if you go to Tokyo, you should be able to get by. Shouldn't be a big deal. And just like, don't try to go to a secret place. Just go to a regular place, and then people will let you in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, don't go off in the countryside to some fucking temple somewhere and expect them to be accommodating, because you're gonna be like, blah blah blah, and we're gonna be like, blah blah blah, and they'll be like, okay, we'll see.
Basically,
yeah, that's kind of, I figured that, like, especially big cities are probably very much more accommodating to non-native speakers. But well, cool. Well, before we segue again, we can cut there. So, thank you for coming on. Thank you for, and I didn't want to say that you were not an inspiration for part of this, because after that conversation that we had that night, that was part of the spark that's like, yeah, maybe we should just like have people on and chit chat, but definitely not the podcast idea. This was not the podcast idea.
Yeah,
but
no, I was just fucking with you anyway. But yeah, no, we should definitely consider still doing that. And I'd be down with doing it live. But
yeah,
it depends. Either one, we'll talk about it in private where people are not
judging. I think they would. I mean, I feel like people would enjoy it. It seemed to be a decent response when we did our bit about dolphins, so I think everybody would love that.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's why we decided we should do this in the first place, and that's I don't want to like have that happen again, because we just totally wasted like a good bit, like
right.
we just, because you and I don't know a lot of personal stuff about each other, like the fucking sushi and all that shit.
Right.
So when you talk about sushi and you're like, I've never had sushi, like that whole I never had sushi conversation, that's gold. We just fucking gave it up. It's over.
That's true. We can never repeat that.
Right.
We can do it. Well, no, because both of us have shitty memories. We just have to do it in like a year.
Oh, well, that's true.
And then we'll be like, it'll feel like deja vu. Like, I feel like we've talked about this before. But neither one of us are going to remember in a year. We're like, we didn't talk about sushi. So nobody remind us. Anybody that's watching this, don't bring it up. If we talk about it again, don't fucking say that we talked about it a year ago.
Because that will remind us, and I will remember what happened.
Yeah. And then we'll
ruin everything.
We'll ban all. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, well, thank you so much for hanging out, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. You're the best. I'm glad that we finally got to have our chit chat. Thank you for cutting out time to do this tonight, and I'll get this trimmed up and get it on the YouTube eventually, because I'm lazy. These are usually pretty easy. I like easy YouTube, because I go in, I clip, and to end, and then I just no frills, no intro screen, just put it out there. That's my YouTube philosophy for now. But yeah, no, very cool. I feel like we got to know you a little bit better as a community, as a human race. We got to learn things about you and experience the life of Mazion and how to pronounce your name correctly and where it came from. And yeah, it's been awesome, man. Thank you so much. So, but yeah, we'll definitely do it again. We'll have a repeat at some point, and we'll come up with more questions and more time to hang out and chit chat. So hopefully everybody enjoyed it on both sides, because you're still streaming, right? You're still doing your show?
I am.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, dual thing. So, yeah, and by the way, I feel like everybody in here knows who you are, but just in case, let's give you a nice little shout out here. I can't imagine that nobody knows who you are that's in my chat. So there's that. So go check him out if you haven't already. Do it, or else. But anyway, thank you so much for being here, dude. I'm going to go watch TV, and you're going to go do life things and tell your lady hi and tell her that I approve because she likes Lovecraft. So everything's good in the world. Thankfully, I didn't want that to be awkward, so I'm glad that she likes Lovecraft. And I'll catch you tomorrow. Come by your stream tomorrow, and I'll say words.
All right, dude. Sounds like a plan, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, man.
Thanks for all the cool questions. You have a wonderful night. Now
Absolutely.
we'll talk to you very soon.
All right, man. Take care of yourself. I'll see you soon.
All right, peace.